Yo, everyone. Welcome back to When Shooting's Life podcast. Today we have Samong Yang from Samong Outdoors in the motherfucking house. How's it going, bro?
Dude, life is good, man. You caught me right at the tail end of my season, so now I can finally sit in my computer and do stuff like this. It's nice not to have to hike 12 miles a day.
Nice, man. Hey, man, we appreciate you, hopping on and then talk with us tonight.
For sure.
Uh, so yeah, man. So for those who doesn't know you, can you give us a little bit background about yourself?
Yeah, well, there's nothing really special about me. I'm just as of right now, I'm a full-time content creator, so I do my YouTube channel, Samong Outdoors, as you mentioned, and then just earlier this year, actually, back in July, I launched my own podcast, the Samong Yang Outdoors podcast. Couldn't think of a better name, so I just stuck with the name that my parents gave me. And my content mainly revolves around hunting and fishing, and primarily here where I live, which is Washington State. So a lot of Pacific Northwest based hunting and fishing type stuff. And then just recently, like over the past 3 years or so, slowly venturing outside of the Pacific Northwest as time allows and more opportunities arise. And yeah, just been doing this YouTube channel since 2016 and just kind of rode that wave. And then here we are, like basically 10 years later, doing it as a job.
Nice. All right. So before I don't know if you watched our podcast, but we like to ask our guests random question before we officially start the podcast. So usually we do five, but for you, we got six for you.
Okay, sounds good.
Um, are you ready?
I'm ready.
I
All
don't think
right.
you can be ready. Let's do it.
Okay,
No, these are easy. These are easy.
okay.
All right. So if you could only hunt or fish in one season for the rest of your life, which season would you choose?
Is that two questions, meaning I choose one for hunting and I choose one for fishing, or is it just choose one?
Just choose one.
Well, to me, it's got to be hunting in the fall, man. I mean, that's kind of my bread and butter. So that's funny. A lot of people, especially the people who consume all of my content, they'll see me fish, they'll see me hunt. But the only reason why I fish is because I can't hunt year round. So I tell people all the time, I'm actually a hunter who just fishes on the side. Like it's not really a 50-50. If you gave me an option, I'd just go hunting and primarily big game hunting in the fall. Like that's really my big thing I do. Like I'll turkey hunt in the spring and do all that random stuff too. But a lot of times like that's just filling in time. But fall hunting for big game, like that's what I do.
All right. Next question. What's one animal that keeps humbling you no matter how much you chase it?
Well, I mean, you could basically list all the animals and you'd be right. But the biggest one is probably black bears. So black
Mm.
bears, they're what I often call the easiest animal to hunt or the hardest animal to hunt because bears, they're also driven by food. And so so here in Washington in the fall time, we open in August, which August is like peak huckleberry season. So a lot of times that's what a lot of bears will eat, which is huckleberries. And the reason why I say it's the easiest hunt is because if you can find that huckleberry patch where those bears are eating, most of the times, like that's as simple as it gets. They're also the hardest because if you can't find that food source, they're nearly impossible to find. Like you're hardly ever just gonna randomly stumble upon one. So like this year, 2025, man, we had like the best huckleberry year we've ever had, and we thought we were just gonna walk out there and bears were gonna be everywhere. Dude, I didn't see a single bear until the last morning of my season, man. I hunted like 12 days and I saw a sow and two cubs on the last morning. And so just reminds you, man, when you think you have them figured out, you don't.
How is bear meat?
Oh man, good. You got to try
It's
it.
good.
Yeah, so bear is actually it's pretty volatile because they're very dependent on what they eat. So
Hmm.
like bears they live in such a diverse habitat. I mean, you have bears that live on the coast and that will eat salmon that shoot up the rivers to spawn and whatnot. And then you have like inland bears like what I hunt here,
Mhm.
where they mainly just grubbing on berries and plants and whatnot. So whatever that bear's eating, a lot of times they're gonna taste exactly like what they're eating. So I've never tasted a bear or ate a bear that was eating on rotten salmon. A lot of people say you don't want to even get close to those guys, but to me, it's like the bears I shoot where they just are eating huckleberries, man. They have a hint of sweetness to them because even in their fat, you can see it's almost like a purple tint that resembles huckleberries and
Mm.
whatnot.
Mhm.
And yeah, they have a little sweet flavor to it. And speaking on that note, like black bear that's been eating huckleberries is actually my favorite wild game to eat. I'll choose that over elk and even deer.
That's what I hear a lot of people say. I
Really?
really want to try a bear like this big eating huckleberry. Just everybody talks about it. I've never had a bear that tastes sweet like that.
Yeah, I mean, I didn't really think much of it until people started saying because again, like that's all I know. So it just that's what I just always resembled bear meat to taste like. But the more I expanded and the more people start sharing their thoughts on it, it's kind of when you realize like, oh yeah, we're actually just pretty lucky to be able to shoot bears that eat huckleberries here.
What's your favorite dish to when you cooking beer?
So with bear meat, a lot of people there's all these different things that they do with it, but with bear, it's kind of like pork where you have to fully cook it because they carry trichinosis. And so most of my bears, I will just grind the entire animal. Like I don't save a roast or anything, and then I just make live, dude. Like I
Hmm.
prefer bear live because they're not as dry as deer and elk. And so when you eat them, there's a little bit of oil to it because that's the thing about bears because they're so fat. Like there's actually fat that's almost like ingrained in the meat themselves. Versus deer, it's like once you shave off that layer of fat, it's like the meat's just meat. Like it's really lean.
So how do you cook it once you grind it up?
So a lot of times I'll just do sausage,
Hmm.
just random sausage recipes that you pick it up, or I'll do
Mm.
la as I mentioned, or
Hmm.
then you just kind of do like these random rice bowls. Like sometimes like if I'm on the go and I don't have a lot of time to
Hmm.
cook, I'll just do ground meat, mix in with rice and bell peppers and onions, and that's basically it. Like I keep it pretty simple. Like I'm not a chef, so like I don't
Hmm.
have these sophisticated recipes to share with you guys.
Yeah, you can't don't be like
Nice.
those Hmong people who made raw lot out of bear meat.
Yeah.
They're hurting.
Yeah, that's a regret that you're gonna not ever live down.
Oh yeah.
How bad is trichinosis?
Ooh.
So trichinosis, I've never had it. At least I don't think I've had it. But so trichinosis is actually just one of those things where like once you get infected, like it never
Hmm.
leaves your body. Like it's with
Oh.
you for life.
Ooh.
So once you contract trichinosis, the only thing you can
Hmm.
do is take these pills where it
Hmm.
basically just prevents the trichinosis from spreading around and doing their thing. It basically just puts a halt to them. But once you contract it, it's
Mm.
kind of like, well, you're living with that for the rest of your life.
Body sores for the rest of your life. Man.
Yeah.
Usually I try to cook all my meats on like the bleeding edge of raw, but I'll keep that in mind if I ever get any bear meat.
Yeah, I mean, and that reason right there, it scares a lot of
Hmm.
people away from bear hunting, and rightfully so. But at the same
Hmm.
time, I'm like, it's literally the same exact reason why you
Yeah.
don't undercook chicken or undercook pork. It's the same process. It's just that it's a
Hmm.
bear, not a chicken or a pig.
All right.
Got it.
All
Go ahead, Cook.
right, next question. If you had an opportunity to go back into the past, would you rather hunt with the Native American or caveman?
Wow. If I had to choose, I'd probably say the Native Americans because I feel like if you hunted with a caveman and you guys weren't successful, you'd probably be the one that ended up getting cooked.
You don't want
I'm just
to hunt a saber-toothed tiger with a wooden stone spear?
no, man. I think I'm good. I think I'll stick to Native Americans where like they've got like maybe spears and traps, a little bit more modern stuff than just picking up rocks and try to arm wrestle a woolly mammoth or something.
All right, next one. Do you think it'll be a good idea if the Hmong people in Laos have the same hunting technology as Americans?
That's a good question. Would it be a good idea? Man, if it depends on what perspective you're looking at, because if you're just talking about making sure that the Hmong people can feed themselves, then absolutely yes. If you're gonna talk about the resources and making sure the resources don't get depleted, that's probably a terrible idea that they have the same resources that we have here. Because from what I understand in Laos, like there's really no regulations on like game management. So if you're out there with R22s or 17 HMRs, I mean, those things are probably getting obliterated.
I don't know if you guys ever watched. It was like back in the early 2000s, and there was these illegal Hmong hunting videos. Man, they would kill like anything that fucking moves, man, and they would eat
Mhm.
anything. So Yeah, I don't think it would be a good idea because I think the animals would be wiped out.
Yeah.
All right, next one. Which one do you think is scarier? If you hear the sound of someone choking or a Native American powwow when you're up in a tree stand?
I don't think I've ever heard a Native American do that. So like I'm trying to think of what it sounds like, but dude, honestly, just because I'm home, there's a cultural tie to what your own culture does. So I'm gonna have to say a Hmong guy or something twerking in the woods. Like because like like last week when I was in Utah with some of my Mexican friends, like they all have their own like superstitions and their own little stories, right? But then when they tell the story, like they're all freaked out. But like to me, as somebody who is not culturally
Yeah.
attached to that, it's like it doesn't have the same scare, right? But if you flip that and you start telling Hmong stories, it's probably a little different. It hits a little bit more to home, you know? And so I would definitely have to say for me personally, if I was in a tree stand and somebody was choking, bro, like uh, that's up there.
All right, last one. If you met a nice, friendly, and beautiful skinwalker, would you get into a love relationship with her?
Uh, Heck no. I don't think there's such a thing as a nice skinwalker, bro. I think she's setting you up, man. I've never seen a skinwalker, but when I hear things about them, I don't hear good things about them. So I'm gonna do everything I can to just stay away from her.
But the question said that she is nice, friendly, and beautiful.
But
Yeah,
is
because
that
she's setting you up for dinner.
yeah, she might be nice, but she might be on a mission because she's getting orders from somebody who's not so nice and beautiful. So you just gotta look out for yourself.
Hey, but the same thing could be said to like regular humans, though, right?
That is right. But at the same time, at least I know that if it's a normal person, we're on the same level playing field, right? With a skinwalker, I'm at every disadvantage. Like they can do things I can't do.
What? Okay, all right. What about you, Christian and Stephen? What about you guys?
The
No,
Skinwalker?
Yeah.
no.
No.
Damn.
No.
I
Who's
get.
who's gonna see Pennywise the clown, and who's gonna be like, "Oh, sweet, free
Like, dang, you got
stuff."
some pretty lips.
I know.
I guess I'm the only freaking one here then.
Hey, there's nothing wrong with that. Everybody is different.
All right. All right. So that's it for the 6 random questions. So we're gonna go ahead and hop on to the our question for you. The first question we have for you is what's a moment in your outdoor journey that broke you and humbled you?
Man, there's a lot of those ones, man. It's a lot of those ones has to do with when and this has happened multiple times, man. When you're in that red zone, that's what we call it, where you're about to take a shot, right? And you're like, dude, this animal's dead. And you just end up butchering the shot. Like you make a terrible shot, you miss. Because it's happened many times to me where like you're on a good streak, right? Like let's say you killed like the past 3 animals you're shooting, you're like, oh, I got this. You go to number 4, you're thinking you're about to repeat the same success, and then you just butcher the shot. And that's the one thing I've learned about hunting, and or one thing that hunting is constantly teaching me is like, no one ever masters hunting. Like it's your your mistakes that you were prone to when you started, like year one, you're still gonna be prone to those mistakes 30 years in. Like nobody ever is gonna be mistake free when it comes to hunting. And so that's the one thing I always remind myself because like 2025, like I'm coming off basically one of my most successful hunts or seasons ever in my life. But next year it could be a complete bust. Like I could go and have my worst year next year, right? Because like every year it's like hunting doesn't necessarily stack on top of each other. Like your success this year doesn't really mean much next year. So it's like you kind of always have to take a step back and start at the same level every single time you're going to go on a season because every year is different. And so like that's the one thing that kind of keeps me grounded is like just because you were successful in the last hunt doesn't mean that you're going to be successful on the next hunt.
Oh yeah, I totally agree with that. You think you have it down, but every hunt's different, and every animal's different. It humbles you real fast.
Yeah, so that's why I'm saying like I kept it pretty broad there because like that rule of thumb it's true for everything, man. Like for even fishing, like if you can go fishing and do really well yesterday and go out today and get skunked, right? And same thing for like anything you can name when it comes to hunting, man. Like it just you just have to constantly be grounded to the idea that your previous success does not necessarily make you a better hunter. It might make you better in the idea that you might find animals better, but when it comes to actually executing a shot or actually being successful with an animal, like you still have to properly execute that whole shot process.
Oh yeah.
Here's a question for you. Have you killed an animal before?
Me?
Hmm.
I've heard
Yeah,
this before.
a chickmunk. I killed a chickmunk.
How,
I
how did that go?
dude, it went horrible, man. I shot the chickmunk in the neck, and then the
Oh,
chickmunk fell, and then the
uh-huh,
chickmunk just kept on shaking, right? So
uh-huh.
so me and my cousin, we just grabbed the chickmunk by the tail and started hitting on the log, and it
That's
wouldn't
horrible.
die. It
Oh,
wouldn't
that's
die.
horrible.
So I felt
Wow.
I felt bad. Yeah. We went squirrel hunting. I couldn't shoot any
Mhm,
squirrel, and
mhm.
so I shot a chickmunk.
The the reason I bring that up is because, just from my own experience. So when I was a kid, my grandparents had a farm, and so me and my cousins, we would go around with like a BB gun. We shoot birds, and then I remember having to like shoot like my first large animal. It was a pig. So we had cows and pigs and stuff. So my dad told me to shoot the pig, and so it was different. So it's that mental thing of it's way different from like a small bird or chipmunk. It's different from actually shooting like a larger animal. It's actually like staring you in the face. And then after kind of like overcoming that, I know like a lot of hunters they talk about how what's I forgot what's the phrase they have for that. It's not deer scare. It's I can't remember the phrase they have for that.
Kind of
But
like
yeah,
a
so
deer fever.
yeah,
Yep.
something like that. Yeah, and so Ku, that's the reason I asked is that if you ever have to shoot like a larger animal, your mental instinct is it's kind of tough to do, and it definitely was difficult like the first time I had to shoot something a little bit larger.
Yeah, those first moments, they will always
Hmm.
like be ingrained in your head. I
Hmm.
remember like my first time I ever shot a deer as a kid. When I shot it, I walked up to it, like I got scared. I was, oh, like
Hmm.
what the heck is this? I'm like,
Yeah.
like taking that mentally in and just like, just coping with it. Everybody takes it differently. But do that first kill of the animal will always be ingrained in your head. You remember every detail of it.
Samong, what was the first big animal you shot?
The first big game animal I killed, it was a white-tailed doe. I shot it in what, 2011? I think that was like my second year in with a tag in my pocket. Yeah. That was back when we were like old school and just rocking Goodwill clothes and whatnot. All you do is walk around the woods and shoot them point blank. Nowadays, like I hunt very different than that. But yeah, that was the first thing I killed big game wise.
Let's hear the story of that. How did that go? Like just kind of walk us through it. Like, what were your feelings of it all? Your first time shooting it?
Yeah, so like man, like if you talk to a lot of hunters today, like most of the times if they've been around for the past 2 years or past 2 decades or something, they'll often say that two decades ago the hunting was way better than it is today, and all that stuff, like the good old days, whatever. And so like back then when we started hunting, I mean, social media was not what it is today. Like you couldn't find free information about how to hunt and whatnot, like just by Google searching it. So the only way you learned to hunt back then was you had to go out there and figure it out yourself. And so back then it was, man, like if somebody in the family killed a deer, like you were him because nobody ever shot a deer. And so that year, I was still a youth, so like I was still eligible to shoot whitetail does because here in Washington, it's very different from like Midwest. Like you get one tag per year. Like we don't get multiple tags where you can go and shoot a bunch of does and a buck or two. So here it's like you get one tag and that's basically it. And so that tag here, with how they manage it, most of the time that's tag is only valid for bucks. But because I'm a youth, I have the privilege or special privilege to take a certain or take a doe with that tag in certain units. And so that was actually the second weekend in 2011. And normally, what we do is my family, we have deer camp up in the spot where we actually mule deer hunt. But because where we mule deer hunt, I can't shoot a doe there. My older brother, he decides to like, oh, let's just go and shoot a doe instead because we want something easy. Like we'd rather go find a doe. And so my whole family, they went to deer camp where they were going to hunt mule deer. And then it was just me and my brother that went after my doe. And so we day trip. So we wake up super early from home, drive out there and hunt that day. And that day, like we didn't even hardly see anything. We went and it was like raining, it was super wet, and we were just walking roads. So here in Washington, a lot of our type of terrain is you just have a lot of clear cuts. So they log these roads and you just walk behind these gated roads. And so that's all we were doing. We were just walking and it was like 1 o'clock. We hadn't seen a single deer. And we were thinking about going back to the truck. And my brother's like, all right, well, we're gonna quit. Let's backtrack and then take the lower road down. And then on the way back, like we walked across this doe that was just chilling like 15 yards above the road. She was just looking at us. And if you know anything about whitetails are often pretty skittish. Like most of the time, they're not going to sit there and look at you, but for whatever reason, this doe did. And so I shot her like at 15 yards, and I
Wow.
shot her. Yeah, I shot her with a 300 Winchester short mag, which is an extremely big cartridge. And so, like 15 yards on a whitetail doe with a 300 Win Mag, basically, like she didn't make it very far. Like the blood trail was insane. But I killed her, and then it's a funny story because that same day at deer camp, my dad actually shot his biggest deer at deer camp. And my dad was like, see, if you went with me instead, like you could have shot this big buck instead of shooting your doe. But hindsight's 2020, right? And so like we both got a deer, so that's how the story happened. Like there wasn't really much to it because we didn't really have a game plan. It was just like you walk around until you bump a deer.
What did the exit wound look like on that deer?
Dude, if I recall, like I don't even think it exited. I think
No
literally
way.
the bullet literally blew up inside her because
Oh,
again, like I think because I was shooting like 150 grain
uh-huh.
Winchester ballistic silver tip, right?
Uh-huh.
And that thing is shooting at muzzle velocity like 3,300 feet per second.
Mm-hmm.
And so I think like literally that bullet, the moment it hit, it didn't even like properly mushroom. It just grenaded because there was so much impact, right? Like the muzzle impact was
Dang.
so much. And so I don't think there was an exit on that deer. She just got obliterated. But yeah, that's how it happened.
Dang.
Yeah, that's why I don't use the 300 Win Mag on a whitetail deer anymore. That's why nowadays I'm shooting like a 6.5 Creed or like a 308. I don't need a
Especially at
Magnum for
15
a whitetail
yards.
deer.
All right, really quick, really quick. Is the hate from hunters for 6.5 Creed, is that overblown?
Uh, yes and no. I think some people do take it a little too far. Like this year, like I shot.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, that's funny you asked that because literally my video today that just went live like an hour 30 ago, I was
Mm-hmm.
shooting a 6.5 Creed on this blacktail buck, and that was actually the most times I've ever had to shoot at a deer before I killed it. So I shot it 5 times with the 6.5 Creed. But on the
Five
flip side,
hits or five
I shot it 5 times and I hit him 5 times. So like I didn't miss a
No.
single shot. But at the same time, if you look at where I hit that animal, like none of
Uh-huh.
them were even like what you would
Uh,
call a lethal shot. Like it was more a bad shot placement than anything, right?
uh,
But it's funny because like people will use that as fuel to be like, see, like that's why 6.5 Creedmoor is not good enough and whatnot. But like if you read one like a month prior, like I
uh-huh.
one and done this mule deer at 454 yards, right? So it just goes to show
Wow.
like if you just do your job and put the bullet where it needs to go, like that
Mm-hmm.
animal's not going to go very far. But it doesn't matter what gun you're shooting if you're not putting it in the right spot. Like you're going to have a rodeo and have to shoot it multiple times.
Shot placement. Shot placement's key.
Yeah. Shot placement and bullet construction, man. I think not enough people give the bullet itself enough emphasis because people will just think that a bullet is created equal. And, I mean, he works at Federal, and I'm sure he knows that more than anybody. Like the bullet construction matters. Like there's different bullet types that are designed for certain things, right? Like you're not gonna shoot a deer with an FMJ bullet. Like it's not gonna expand. It's just gonna zip right through them. And
Koo,
so
tell us about bonded bullets.
Dude, I don't know shit, dude. I don't know the science, dude. I just like to shoot,
uh,
man.
All
uh,
right, Stefan, Samong, tell us about what kind of bullets you guys use for hunting.
Well, I want to know, Steven, are you in Minnesota too?
Yeah, Minnesota.
Yeah, I'd love to know your thoughts on it because, like, Western hunters often dive a little bit deeper because we're usually hunting elk. Elk is often in the conversation. And so people will sometimes say, like, oh, what you can use for a deer, you can't use for elk. So I'd love to hear your thoughts first because I'm assuming that's what you mainly hunt.
Oh, so yeah, with Minnesota is kind of different because with the zones behind, this year it's the previous years it's only been shotgun zones only, so shotguns.
Oh,
With the new coming year 2026, they actually changed it to where you can shoot a rifle now, but each county is going to be different. So like comparing wise, like long range wise, like a lot of Minnesotans like they're shotgun shooters, so
oh,
they're not
wow.
much rifle like long range rifle shooters. So with that, like it's mainly shotguns, and I'm more of an archery hunter. I rather archery hunt than
Mm.
shoot a gun. But if I was to go out west, like, hey, long range shooting, like that's, hey, that's fun. Long range shooting, anything is fun.
Yeah, man.
So
Yeah,
with
that's
Minnesota,
interesting.
oh, it's tough. It's tough, with the shotguns, and if everybody's always having like their super nice, rifle builds, but like they can't really shoot it anywhere.
Yeah, no, I tip that. Yeah, no, back to Christian's question. Basically, like there's like different bullets, right? Like FMJ is the most simple one. A bonded bullet is basically just a process where they basically make the lead inside and the jacket itself become one. And that the idea behind that is you have better weight retention, which when you have better weight retention, that bullet is going to hold its shape better as it's going through that animal so that it has good penetration. Because at the end of the day, you need penetration to actually get to the organs, which is what's going to put that animal down. And so they're good, but man, they are very expensive. They're accurate too, but man, sometimes like paying $80 for a box of 20 is just yeah, that hurts, man.
It hurts.
And you got to zero your gun too.
Yeah,
Every
and
shot's like what,
here
$5?
Yeah,
Four or
and
five
here it's like
bucks.
you got to zero your gun to you have to zero your gun so you take some ammo there. But with how I hunt, it's like now you have to go out and you have to like start verifying your dope because we shoot like 400-500 yards, right? And so you have to use even more ammo just to make sure that your gun is doped out to certain yardages. And so that's why I hate getting a new gun because like just running through that process is like, man, I spend almost as much money on ammo as I did the rifle. And so you just can't win.
If you guys want to get into reloading, I'll talk to you about some reloading.
Yeah, dude. I thought about it too, but man, with what I get to do with this being my
Mhm.
job, I usually get so many new rifles in a year where like it's just not worth it to reload because like as soon as I reload for one rifle,
It's
I get a
not.
new gun. I get a new gun and it's like, okay, well that reload for the previous gun is completely useless because I'm not even gonna shoot it. And so yeah, I just stick to factory ammunition because like with what I do anyway, it's as long as I find a good load for that rifle, it's done the job well.
Reloading's more cathartic than anything else. You don't really save that much money.
Yeah, especially with today.
Oh man, especially today. What's your favorite setup thing on your rifles? If you had to pick one out of the gun case, like what's the number one gun you're grabbing?
Oh man, honestly, this year I was shooting a custom rifle. This is like one of my first actual like true custom build rifles. It'd probably be that one. So that's a 280 Ackley improved. Um, and I
Mm.
still need to do a video on that one, but basically it's a Defiance action with a Oregon Mountain Rifle carbon fiber barrel. I have a suppressor on there and I have a MDT Hunt 26 chassis. So like to me, when I built that rifle, with how I'm oriented, I always think about purpose of the rifle, which for me, it's always a Western big game hunting rifle. So I'm looking for lightweight, I'm looking for compactability and obviously accuracy, but then at the same time, you want a cartridge that's big enough to shoot at longer distances and still be able to effectively take down animals like elk, right? And so that rifle has actually been an absolute killer this year. Shot an elk with it and shot a deer
Is that
with
the
it this
one
year.
you
And
shot with it? When you and your dad and bro, like you guys tagged out in three? Is that the one?
yes, so that's the
Okay,
one I was
okay.
shooting. Yeah.
Yes,
So
good.
that rifle is pretty sick. As of right now, I would lean towards that one just because it's lightweight, but then the 280 Ackley is just it's a fantastic cartridge.
Yeah, yeah, awesome gun, awesome gun.
How much money you got into that? Because Defiance Action, I mean, they're not cheap.
Dude, so sometimes I purposely avoid doing the math of what I spent, right? But the good thing about like that stuff is I get a lot of help. So like I didn't completely pay for the whole thing. I only paid for certain
Nice.
parts. But I think if you just did the math, I mean, that rifle was probably sit like maybe north of 7 grand. So
Seven.
it's definitely not cheap, right? But at the same time, it's also not the rifle I started with. Like I started with like a normal rifle that you got off the shelf. But over the years, you slowly invest more and more into it. That's why I'm where I'm at. But it's like, no, that's like my 11th rifle. So I definitely did not start with that one, but it's definitely my favorite one.
And you're not married, so you don't have to tell the wife, hey, 7 grand.
Exactly. I'm a man of my own money, so I do whatever I want.
Get your toys now.
Yep.
Yes, get your toys
That
now.
that's crazy. I thought you were gonna say like three or four. Dang, seven. I mean, that's like PRS money. I didn't realize that you get that crazy with hunting rifles.
Yeah, and I mean, if you shop like I'm going based off of like full retail price, and
Hmm.
so like that's
Hmm.
obviously going to inflate it. If you shop smart,
Yeah.
obviously you can get it for cheaper too. But yeah, I mean the chassis itself is already like 1800. The scope itself is already
Hmm.
like 1800. I mean that two piece is already like
Mm,
3600, right? And so you're gonna
true.
add a carbon fiber barrel to it, and then add
True.
the Defiance action. Like it's, dude, that's what I'm saying, man. Nowadays, shooting, hunting, it is not cheap, man. Like people who are just getting into this stuff, be ready to cough up a lot of money.
Expensive rabbit hole. Expensive rabbit hole.
Yeah, and I tried not to go too deep into it, but I can't help myself.
I was looking at Black Friday sales. They had like a Ruger American combo with a 3 to 9 scope for like $500. I was like, maybe I'll pick one up for fun. Maybe I'll try deer hunting next year. It'll do
Dude,
the
honest,
job.
it's funny though because like my Ruger American Predator, the Gen 1, that's the cheapest rifle I own, but that's
Hmm.
like the most accurate rifle I own.
Mm.
Which is crazy to say because people think that, oh, if you spend more money,
Hmm.
your gun's going to be more inherently accurate. It's not the case at all. You might have better features that might help you shoot better, like a better trigger or better
Hmm.
stock, but it doesn't necessarily mean that more money means more accuracy.
So tell the viewers, right? So what's the difference between a $500 Ruger American versus a custom $7,000 build? Where does your additional $6,500 go?
Yeah, so one of the biggest things that I'll put emphasis on, and I'm sure you guys can agree to, is especially with PRS, is your trigger. The Ruger American, they have a pretty subpar trigger. But again, I don't hold it against them a lot because it's like it's a budget rifle, right? Like they're not gonna have the best of everything. But the biggest one I'm gonna say is the trigger. Having a good trigger that breaks clean, that is often lighter in poundage, is going to help you be more consistent because you just don't have that crosshair wobble as you're putting pressure on that trigger. So for
Are you
example, I
using
have
a
a
Timney trimmer?
no, so on that rifle that I'm talking about, my 280, I have a Trigger Tech. I have a Trigger Tech Diamond on there.
Nice.
I have a Timney on my 30-06, and they all do the job better than a factory Ruger American trigger, right? And so I feel like that's where you're going to get most of your, in terms of a practicality standpoint. But in terms of a stock, the Ruger American, they just don't get a, they don't have a very good stock. Like it's pretty flimsy. Now, does it work? Obviously, but like going from a Ruger American stock to like my MDT Hunt 26, I mean, you can put ARCA attachments on it. You can put M-lock attachments on it, and you can fold it, and it's way lighter and it's more sturdy. So you're just more rock solid when you're actually using the rifle. And on top of that, MDT, you can adjust your cheek riser, you can adjust length of pull, and so you can just customize that whole chassis, that whole rifle systems to basically fit you better. Because with the Ruger American or any factory rifle that doesn't have those adjustments, you're kind of having to mold yourself into the rifle rather than have the rifle mold itself to you.
All the bells and whistles.
Yep.
Mm.
So that's where you get your money's worth is you're just able to customize and get the parts that you actually want. But again, it doesn't necessarily mean you're going to get better accuracy, but I do think that it will help you become a better shooter.
So essentially, a Honda Civic and a Ferrari, they're both going to take you down the highway 60 miles an hour, but one of them's going to be much more fun to drive.
Yeah, and I think the and even one step is like if you're going down a super bumpy road, right?
Hmm.
You could take a Toyota Camry down that, or you could take a Toyota Tundra. You're probably going to have a smoother ride in the Tundra than a Camry
Mm.
going off-roading, right? It's basically the same thing. They'll probably take you there, but one's going to be more comfortable.
You look more swag at the Tundra, right?
Exactly.
$7,000 setup, you got more swag when you shoot an elk.
Exactly. And then you miss with that rifle, and somebody with a Ruger American just drills their animal, and then that's when it's like, oh dang, I wasted all this money for no reason.
So
All right,
speak.
cool. What's your question? Oh, go ahead.
Oh,
Go ahead.
I
Sorry.
was gonna ask. So earlier you mentioned about Goodwill clothes, right? Do you think
Yep.
this? Do you think clothes matter, like the brand?
Okay, dude, this so with today's market and as somebody who's essentially in the industry, whenever you're in an industry, the idea behind marketing and businesses is to make money, right? Like that's why people have businesses. It's to make money. But man, when it comes to clothes, I think they're the most overrated stuff ever. Like I use some top of the line stuff, but every time I go home with my dad, he's rocking like things he's got from like 15 years ago. And he's still in the places that I end up in. He's still hiking the same mountains I do. He's still killing the same animals I am. So it's like, where do you draw the line, right? Like, at what point does it actually matter? Now, granted, there are some times where it matters. Like if I'm going to Alaska on a doll sheep hunt for like 10 days with camp on my gear, like obviously I'm gonna get the best. But if you're just doing more like weekend warrior type stuff where you're just day hunting from the truck, it's you don't really need the best of the best. Because even if you get wet out there, you're coming back home, you come back to the truck, you can just switch clothes and go with a new dry outfit the next day. It's not really like you need it. But with that said, I do think that overall you are more comfortable out there when you have warmer clothes and things that shed the wind and shed the water, moisture, rain better. Like you do last in the field longer, you are more comfortable. But to say that do you absolutely need it to be successful in the field? No, no, you don't.
So you're not a sick of bougie, right, Hunter?
No, that's what people always tell me. People are like, "Oh man, you're in the industry. Are you like working with the brand?" I'm like, "Dude, I am Frankenstein out there, man. Like, I got like all these different brands on me. Like nothing's matching at all." And people with OCD get so mad about it because they're like, "Dude, you got like five different camos on you, man. Like just pick one." And I'm like, "Dude, I don't care how I look out there. Like the deer doesn't care how I look out there."
No, I love it though. I love it because I noticed you have Kuyu, you have First Light, you have a bunch of different camels. My dude, this guy is running what he wants. Like he doesn't care.
Yeah.
I've had guys before like want to fight me because they're like, hey, Sicko's the best. I'm like, at the end of the day, dude, good
Yeah,
work, camel work just as good, man.
and part of that just comes to growing up. Like I grew up like as poor as dirt, right? And so like we grew up making what we could find at the thrift store work. And so like having anything close to like Sitco or First like today is already like light years ahead of what I started out with. And so it's like if I made what I had back then work, like I don't understand why any of this top end stuff won't work. Like it's it doesn't map, right? Like obviously it's going to work.
So would you partner up with Mozzie Oak?
So the thing about Mossy Oak is they're actually pretty legit too because they've Mossy Oak from today, like 20 years ago, like they are actually improving their quality of apparel too. Like what they make today, like I would not hesitate using that to go hunting at all. A lot of the times, the reason why we have quote unquote premium stuff is more of weight more than it is anything else. It's just like you're shaving like a few ounces on this piece over the other because when it comes to Western big game hunting, you always hear people saying it's all about going light and fast, right? Because backcountry hunting is big here. So anytime you can save 3, 4 ounces on a piece of gear, like people are gonna do it. But then you're paying like $200 just to shave those 4 extra ounces of weight. But people will go so deep in that rabbit hole and they will literally just go in and open a spreadsheet and like go in and calculate all the different ounces. And I used to be that guy too. But I got to a certain point where I'm like, dude, like this is like it doesn't really mean much because I'm still gonna end up carrying all my stuff out there anyway.
And you look at Masio, look at their camel, dude. Like it's going hard now. Like their
Yeah.
old school camel is
And
going
that's also
hard.
the other thing too. So like Mossy Oak, they also license their camo patterns, and so you can get some like really high quality apparel with their camo just licensed on it.
Mm.
Cool, get you some camel, man.
Yeah, I was gonna say next time we see Koo, he's gonna have like that big puffy mossy oak jacket,
Yeah, I do.
right?
I do have one.
Yeah.
All right, so our next question is if you had to pick the single most unforgettable hunt of your life, the one that you could tell around the fire for the rest of your days, which hunt would you choose and why was it so meaningful and did you film it?
Oh yeah, man. I have a lot that comes to mind, but there's probably two that I'd pick one or pick from, but I think the one that I would probably have to say is probably my 2023 solo mule deer hunt that I did with the rifle because when you're hunting alone, it's a different environment. Like it's just very different. Even if you just have somebody else there with you, it's so drastically different than being out there completely alone. So in 2023, and yes, I did film this hunt, but I'll get to the caveat of this hunt in a moment. So this was a crazy hunt because like this is some of the most treacherous terrain that I've ever hunted. And in Washington State, it's very diverse. That's the one thing I can vouch for Washington. I mean, we have ag fields, we have like lowland hill type country, and then you can go to like the middle of Washington where you have Cascade Mountains, like Glacier Peak and all these super high mountain peaks. And so like you have all the terrain that you could probably ever want to hunt. And you go to the coast, you got like rainforest basically. And so in 2023, I did a solo hunt and I basically just packed in everything I could. And this is a hunt where it's pretty dry, so you don't have a lot of water. So all the water is basically down low at the creek and the river bottoms. And I'm not hunting there. I'm gonna go all the way to the top of these mountains so that I can glass better because it's open country. And here in Western hunting, glassing is oftentimes how you're gonna even see animals because you're often glassing like 3, 4 miles sometimes. And so the more country that you can lay eyes on, the better your odds of picking out something that you can actually shoot. And so it's like a solo hunt. I have all my gear. I have my camp, all my food, my camera gear with me. And the first thing I did was like 3,000 vertical feet just up this cliff. And I'm hauling all my water. So I have like 5 extra liters of water with me. So I'm going up there with like a 95-pound pack, like going up this cliff. And like multiple times throughout the way I was going up there, like I remember thinking to myself, I'm like, dude, what are you doing? Like this is like the worst thing you could be doing right now because one, it's dangerous country. Two, it's like you have a very heavy pack. What are you gonna do if you shoot a deer and you have to pack out the whole deer on top of all your gear, right? And so anyway, I didn't care. I just ended up going up there, and so I ended up getting up there like 6 hours into my hike and basically got there right at last light. Saw a bunch of deer right off the bat, but here in Washington for mule deer, we have a 3 point minimum rule where one side of a buck's antler needs to have at least 3 points for it to be legal. And so I didn't see anything that night. So the next morning, my first full day, I basically hunted all around this whole mountain system. And basically at 4 o'clock p.m., after a whole day of hunting, I spotted this really nice buck. And this really nice buck so happened to be basically where I camped. So I basically hunted all around these mountains just to figure out that there was a buck right by my camp. And so
The way it
it's like
normally
three,
turns out.
yeah. So I'm like, dude, I've got like 3 hours left of light, and I guess I need to go back to camp anyway because I'm gonna go and spend the night there. So I decide to book it. So I start running this 3 miles back to camp, and I get to camp. I drop off some gear, and then I have to go past camp, lose elevation to get a shot across the canyon on this buck. So I make that 3 mile loop, drop down, and then I'm waiting on this buck. And I have everything set up. Cameras are set up, spotting scopes on the deer. I'm set up, just waiting for this deer to walk out. And finally, like after 10 minutes of looking at this deer, he walks out. I shoot, he drops in the scope. I see him roll because this is steep country. So the moment he went down, he started rolling. Like I was nervous that he was just going to keep rolling forever and then I was not going to be able to recover him. But fortunately, he rolled like 20 yards and there was a bench where he actually laid down, which was actually very beneficial for me. And so I went in. So at this point, it's dark. I go back up to camp, drop off all my gear, and now I'm in the dark trying to like navigate myself through all this cliff country. Granted, I've never been there before either, so like I don't really even know what it actually looks like in person. So here I am, as blind as a bat in the dark, like just going down trying to find this deer. And about like 30 minutes later, I get down to this deer, and it's my at that time he was my best deer. Like he was like a 150-inch 4 point.
Wow.
Processed him out, decided to cape him because I wanted to shoulder mount him.
Yeah.
So that's even more weight on top of
Yeah.
like just packing up the whole deer. And so I load up the whole deer, all the meat with the head and the cape. I hike up back to the camp. And then I slept that night. I didn't even get a good night's sleep because I was like on cloud nine. I was like super stoked and tired and you just couldn't sleep. Your brain was all over the
You've
place.
got that adrenaline running through you.
Yeah, man, it was a crazy one. And then yeah, the next morning, I mean, I had to buck down. So again, when you're solo, everything's on your back. So I load up my gear, I load up my camp, all my food, all the water, all my rifles, my camera gear with all the meat and the head. And granted, at the beginning, I said that I had to like go up 3,000 vertical feet. Well, now you got to descend all of that. And so the problem with going down when you have like 130 pounds on your back is, dude, your feet, the bottom of your feet, dude, you start shedding that skin.
Yeah.
And so as I'm starting to go down, like, dude, like basically by the time I got to the creek, like I couldn't feel the bottom of my feet. Like it was just on fire. Like the whole skin had completely come off, and that was just in my baby skin. And dude, my legs were aching. Like everything about my body was just hurting at that point because it's like, dude, I'm a pretty skinny guy. Like I'm not the strongest dude out there. So 130 pounds, that's basically like what, almost like 90% of my own body weight, you know? And so like and you're going through some treacherous country. And I get back to this creek where I had to cross back to go to my truck. And so I had filmed basically all my deer footage on my phone. And I had my phone in my pocket, my cargo pockets in my pants. not thinking much about it. Like I'm just thinking, oh, I'm just gonna cross this, get back to the truck. Well, when I started crossing that, one thing that you one thing that didn't really hit me until afterwards was when you have 130 pounds in your pack, you're not as stable as you were without 130 pounds in your pack. So I'm going through this creek and it's slippery too. And so basically face plant in this water, like in this creek.
Um,
And so like my phones are like submerged under water, right? And but I'm not thinking much of it. I'm just like, dude, you gotta regain yourself. So like I'm like stumbling, like trying to like get myself back up in the middle of this creek because there's current too. And so I get up, I go across, and that's when I finally remember. I was like, oh, dude, my phones are in my pocket. And so I pull my phones out. And sure enough, my phones are not working. I'm like, all right, whatever, I'll go home, throw them in rice, like they'll be fine, right? And I get to the truck, throw everything in, go home, and then I had two phones. I had my Android, which is my normal phone, but I had used my iPhone as my dedicated footage one. My Samsung, I was able to recover. My iPhone that had all my kill shots and all the footage, I never was
oh
able to
man, that's the
recover it.
worst.
And so to this day, like one of the best hunts that I've been on with like literally the best footage that I could have filmed, I don't have it because somebody decided to face plant in the creek and not put the
Damn.
phones in a better safe spot. So that's
Oh
kind of the
man.
backstory of that hunt, but it was a memorable one because like, you do it alone, you're solo and like nobody's holding your hand, do it all yourself, and then just yeah, lose all the footage at the end of it. It's pretty heartbreaking.
Oh man, they always say the best hunts are the ones that, you think you're recording, you're not recording. And like, those are the ones that are the best ones you remember, but you have nothing to go back on. At
Oh
least
yeah, man.
you got a little bit out of it.
Yeah, I got a little bit, but like I said, it's the mainly just the animal footage that I lost. And so I still ended up making a video on it because I mean I still had most of the footage, but a lot of the important footage, like the kill shot and the buck
Yeah.
on his hoof, like it's all gone. And so that's why like that's a campfire story as you asked me at the beginning, because like it was a good hunt, but there was just so many things about it where it's just like, man, you just want to punch yourself in the face, man. It's like, come on, like why didn't you think that through? Like, come on, like get your phone out of your pocket or something.
Man,
Oh man, you're carrying 130 pounds in your back, dude. You're not gonna worry about your phone. You're just trying to work across.
Yeah, because at that point, I remember before I crossed the creek, I sat down and I told myself, I was like, dude, I'm just so thankful to be back to this. Because all I had to do at that point was cross the creek, get to the truck. Because you could see the truck across the creek. But yeah, wasn't thinking much about it. Was just so excited to get back to the truck that I just completely avoided all common sense and it costed me.
I'm gonna
that
watch that. I'm gonna watch this after time. I'm gonna watch that.
that video
But
could have got you 1 million subscriber, man.
I know, man, but decided to be dumb about it.
would you? I mean, you've primarily only hunted Western, Western hunting, Washington, Utah area there. Sorry, in Oregon. Have you ever like considered coming out like Midwest area to hunt, or even out
Yeah,
south?
so I have. I just haven't like gone because even with just the hunts that I want to do here, like it already takes up most of my season. So actually in January, I'm gonna drive all the way down to Georgia
Oh
to go
wow,
hunt because my sister, she lives in Georgia, and I have a buddy who lives in Georgia that has access to a lot of this land. And in Georgia, uh, you can shoot a lot of deer, a lot of
yeah,
does. And so
no patrol.
that's basically what I'm gonna go do. I'm just gonna go down there and try to pick up some does.
You should hit up those Seek One guys, and collab. Dude. That'd be a good video.
Yeah, I mean, I met him before because like we all work with Vortex,
Oh yeah,
right?
yeah,
Like Seek ones with Vortex. So like last year in 24, Vortex held this huge ambassador summit. So like they invited a bunch of their basically all of their ambassadors to the summit. So I met like some of the Seek One guys there. I met like the Hushin guys, like basically anybody that was Vortex. Like I
yeah,
met them
yeah.
there. And so it's a pretty small community, and that's the thing about hunting is like the industry isn't very big. So like once you kind of know one person, you kind of almost know everybody in a way.
Yeah, yeah. When you're driving all the way out of Georgia, wow, that's gonna be a drive.
Yeah, I know. Well, I would fly, but the problem with flying is there's too much luggage, right? Like
Yeah,
I want my gun, I want my bow, I want all this stuff, and so like it's just less of a hassle. And like I said, being able to do this as a job, it gives me the time to travel like that, right? Like
yeah.
I don't have to take PTO off or like be on a crunch time, so I can just kind of take my time and get down there whenever I want, and then have fun and drive back.
So that Georgia hunt is gonna be like a primarily a gun hunt, or you bring your bow? You say you bring your bow, right?
Yeah, I'll probably bring my bow too because did you guys know that Georgia has like one of the highest deer populations in the
Yeah.
lower 48?
Oh yeah.
So
Yep.
so he's just like, yeah, you could shoot like 10 does or something. So he's like, yeah, if you shoot like three with a rifle and you get bored with that, like you can shoot them with your bow. And so I'll probably bring everything down there.
Oh yeah. That's
Damn.
the place to be. That's why they always have those dual patrol shoots. It's pretty
Yep.
easy.
Yeah.
If you had to choose between like compare like a whitetail to compare to like a blacktail, what do you prefer, like meat wise? If you go from Western to Midwest, whitetail.
Dude, I wasn't a believer until my I forgot who sent me some meat from Pennsylvania. I think it was my aunt.
Yeah.
And at first I was like, dude, whitetail tastes like whitetail, right? And then I tried an East Coast whitetail where all they do is eat corn. And I was like, oh, there's a massive difference than the whitetail we eat here. Because the whitetail, our deer here, they're pretty gamey. Like I'll
Yep.
be honest, like they're pretty gamey out here because all they eat is just like wild stuff. But like, man, those whitetails that feed on like corn and ag fields, they taste a lot cleaner. I'll go give them that. So that's kind of like
Yep.
what this whole Georgia thing is kind of like. Like, let's go pick up some good tasting whitetail deer and whatnot. And granted, like for me, like I honestly don't really care. Like I don't mind that gaminess, but for some people who are more sensitive to gaminess, it'll make a break whether or not they're gonna eat it.
Oh yeah. Especially like for our Minnesota deer, a colder state. Our deer has so much fat. Like it's
Mm.
unreal. There's so much fat. Like even when I cook it for my boys, they're like, Dad, I don't like this. Just all this fat stuck in my mouth.
Oh
So
yeah, yeah,
you have to like, clean it off for them. And they only want to eat the tenderloins, and that's the best part.
yeah. No, I hear it. But yeah, in terms of that though, yeah, I think you can't beat the Midwest slash East Coast corn eating whitetails, man. If you're just gonna talk about meat quality.
Yeah. Cool. Have you had deer cook?
I have,
Yeah.
but I don't know which one it is.
Yeah. Just
Yeah.
Minnesota.
Yeah.
Dang, I gotta get you some elk meat, dude. Like you gotta try it.
Yeah, definitely.
You got some elk meat too, Steven?
Yeah, my uncles they live in Oregon over there.
Oh,
So
nice.
every year they always harvest one, they send us some meat. And
Oh, that's cool.
I got a couple customers that I work in their bows, and they bring me elk meat, So I was like, you don't have to pay me, just bring me some elk meat. Because
Dude, that's cool.
they're fortunate to hunt on some of the reservations here.
Oh, yep.
Then I'm like, hey, dude, like I'd be down for some elk meat. I eat that all day.
Yeah, that's cool, man. That's a cool perk to have.
Wait, so there's no elk in Minnesota?
Yeah, there's elk.
Okay.
It's
All
gonna be
right.
more north,
Yeah.
a lot more north, like closer to the border.
Yeah.
And every year, we do they do drawing the one I think two tags I think every year. So if you're lucky, you can draw it. But they're trying to get the whole elk population up. So give it a couple of years and hopefully they should issue a couple more tags. And then, and then we'll see someone come out here, take one down for us.
That's right. I'll be there when I get that tag.
Oh man. If I get it, you can have me, man.
No, if you get it, I'll be there to film you shoot it.
Okay. That deal.
All right. Our next question is, what do you think separates a good hunter from a consistent hunter?
Uh, yeah, that's a good question. To me, if I had to be honest, it's just woodsmanship. The
Okay.
the people who spend more time outside and actually do things, they're usually gonna have real experiences that have a direct correlation and impact on their hunt versus the people who like they kind of hunt but they kind of don't hunt at the same time and they kind of try to fill in that void by just reading like forums or learning from podcasts and whatnot. There's a disconnect there because what you read on a forum does not necessarily tell you exactly what that herd of deer that you're going to hunt is going to do, but the people who are actively pursuing that herd and knows exactly what that herd is doing, they're going to be more successful because they know exactly how to hunt that herd. Because this is the one thing that people don't understand is like different herds behave differently. Different herds that live in different environments behave differently. And you might be reading a forums of somebody's experience in like a completely different type of terrain or habitat that doesn't even necessarily ring true where you're hunting. And so that was one of the biggest things growing up in Washington. Like we didn't have a lot of representation in Washington when it comes to hunting because nobody hunts here because Washington hunting sucks. And so you always hear about like Montana and Colorado and like Utah, Wyoming, all these big states that have good hunting. But then anytime we would take or like learn from these people who are hunting those states, and you try to implement that into like Washington, it doesn't work because the elk herds here don't behave the same way. The deer don't behave the same way. It's two completely different ideas here. So it wasn't until like we actually like honed in, like, hey, we need to figure out exactly what this herd is doing. We need to figure out our own backyard. That's when we started finding success. And so that's the biggest thing that I can say with people who are consistent and inconsistently harvesting things. It's just the people who spend time outside, which is often termed as woodsmanship, and actually knowing the animals that they're pursuing versus just having a general base knowledge of what a deer might generally do.
Mm.
Kind of like compare like a gear guy that is all
Yes,
about gear and compared to like a guy that's boots to the dirt. They just go and learn.
exactly.
I
Because
definitely agree with that.
there's a lot of people out there that's walking in the highest clothing brands and have the most expensive rifle on the shelf. But man, when you leave them alone out there, they're as lost as a potato, man. Like they have
Oh,
no idea what they're doing. But then you have guys walking up in jeans and flannels with like a 1970 rifle, and they're just smacking everything, you know? So it's like it
well,
goes to show like your gear doesn't mean much if you don't know how to hunt.
you know, knowledge is key. Knowledge is definitely key.
Yep.
You can't just like you said. It's a lot of, especially with the internet nowadays. A lot of forums. People just they read what they think they know. That, oh, I got this. This should be easy. They go out there and they're lost as hell.
Yep.
Yeah, I definitely agree with that. Just like so I do a lot of competition shooting, and it's just like how I see a lot of people who think that if they take a lot of classes from like these fire instructor, they'll be good at shooting, but if they don't actually come out and compete, they will never know how good they are. So I definitely agree with that. Yeah.
Yeah, it's the same way. It's just kind of like, I mean, like with you guys, like I could see your reloading station behind you. It's just the
Yeah.
people who read on how to reload, but you don't
Yeah.
actually know what's effective until you actually reload and shoot.
Mhm.
You know, it's the same thing. It's like your experience will often be the catalyst as to why you're consistently successful in not just hunting, obviously, but whatever field you're in. Is your real life experience cannot be bought out, or you can't necessarily buy it.
Agree.
You gotta know that every screw in your equipment. If you put more
That's right.
effort and time into it, you're gonna be so much more successful that way.
So what's a skill people overcomplicated that's actually simple once they understand it?
Uh, Honestly, it's not even necessarily hunting, it's just scouting. Today
Mm.
with scouting, dude, people overcomplicate it because they're like, what if I go here and it doesn't look good because it doesn't have this feature, it doesn't have that feature, and everybody's telling me to look for this feature. At the end of the day, it's like, dude, just go hunt, dude. Like, you're not gonna kill a deer by sitting somewhere because most of the times I'm killing stuff where people are overlooking. Like they're on the map, it doesn't look good. But when you actually get there in person, it's like, oh, this is actually way better than I thought. And so, so many people they get stuck on that first stage. It's not even the hunting part. It's just finding a place to go hunt, and they overcomplicate it because they're like, oh, if it doesn't have this, it doesn't have that. Like, I don't want to go there. But at the same time, it's like, dude, wild animals are living out there. Like, they're somewhere around. You just gotta put your real time boots on the ground to actually go find them because you can sit here scout on eggs, but it's not going to tell you what animals are actually right there right now. So that's the one thing that people I feel like people draw out too long is just finding a
Keep
spot to
scouting.
hunt. Yep.
With your scouting wise, like um just from the Midwest experience here, like when I'm e-scouting, before I hit boots to the ground, I'm always looking at them. Oh, that looks really good, but I always got to count if that looks good to me, another hunter that's gonna look good to another hunter. So
Yep.
I gotta think about where nobody's gonna go. Like, do you ever encounter like a lot of people at your spots? If it's rough terrain out there, do you ever notice anybody out there? You're like, man, this guy's crazier than me.
Oh yeah, man. I mean, Washington's very different from the Midwest in the
Oh yeah,
aspect that like not to toot anybody's horn, not to toot my own horn, but most people are pretty lazy. Like if you go to a big mountain, most of the time people are not gonna put the effort into climb that mountain. And so most people here, it's pretty easy to weed out where people are going to be and where they're not going to be. So any place where it takes a little bit of effort, and sometimes it's not even a lot of effort, sometimes it's just getting out of the truck. You already know that most people are going to stick by the roads where they can drive.
yeah.
And so as long as you're able to just get away from that, most of the time you don't see people. I mean, obviously, like I see people every single year, but again, that's where experience comes into play because you can go out there. I can see like five people in my spot. but none of them know how the deer travel. Like they don't know where the pinching points are. They don't know where to properly sit or position yourself to be able to get the deer when they're getting spooked. And so seeing people, it's pretty normal out here for me. But it doesn't bother me because most of the time, again, not to toot my own horn, but most of the time people are just out there walking around without like really having a game plan.
Yep.
So it's pretty easy to distinguish, the people who are actually out there because they know what they're doing versus the people who are just trying to get out there for a weekend or something.
Weekend warriors, they won't go more than a mile or two.
And sometimes it's not even a mile. Sometimes it's just like 500 yards.
Where do you think you learn all your experience from? Or is it from someone, or did you have to learn everything on your own?
Yeah, so like I started hunting when I was like 4, right? So like basically my whole life I've been hunting. And again, when I started hunting, social media was not what it is today. So the only time you learned was you had to just go and learn from your dad, right? And so a lot of my early years, it was just tagging along with my dad. And that's basically it. Like you learn by doing that. But back then, like there was really no game plan. The game plan back then, and I'm sure a lot of Hmong OGs today can relate, is you walk out there mindlessly until you run into an animal. That's basically your game plan. But the problem with that is if you go out there on a day and you don't see something, you don't learn anything because you don't know why, okay, why were there no deer there? Like you don't actually dissect what happened. And so in 2017, when I actually started becoming a little bit more independent, started having more time, and I actually started breaking off, doing my own thing during the weekdays when everybody else is at work. Like that's when I actually really started to learn because when I had an idea, I can actually go out and verify whether that idea was good or bad or true or not. And so it's just this constant of like, okay, I have this theory, let me test it out. And if it works, cool. You take note of it. If it doesn't work, then you pivot and you kind of like compound all the things you've learned over the years. And so, yeah, most of what I started out with, all the basics of hunting, I learned that with basically my family. But a lot of the stuff today, like learning how to shoot longer ranges, learning how to glass, like a lot of that stuff was picked up by basically me and like my generation because my parents or like my dad and my uncles, like they're still pretty old school of just like walking around and you know if your eye doesn't see it, then there's no animal there. But with us, like I guess you could call us new school. Like we're sitting there and glassing until our eyes fall off until we pick something out. And so there's just a separation there, basically.
Big change from OG hunting to now. Big skill level change.
Yeah.
Yeah, I definitely agree with that. Even amongst shooting sports, Ku and I we argue about this all the time. How a lot of people think that you can just kind of pick up things and do things, and people like to do it the old school way. But then it definitely is that shift, especially with social media now, where you start seeing people are saying, here's better way of doing things. Here is better techniques, better equipment, better technology, and so we definitely see that with people who are newer to shooting or hunting that there's just so many resources available. And honestly, for like the older generation, it makes me appreciate them more that they were able to do all of this without YouTube or any of the social media feeds that kind of like taught us like a lot of the tricks that we learned.
Yeah,
Lots of respect for them.
that's why today, like when people send me questions and they're like, hey man, I need some tips. I don't know where to start. I'm like, dude, you you have so many resources at your fingertips, man. Because when I started, there was no such thing as Google. There was no such thing as forums, right? It's so people who are getting into today, like, man, they're already starting light years ahead of where we started.
I
Oh,
agree.
absolutely. Yeah, internet has been a huge game changer just in just how quickly we have just learned so many new things and our techniques have changed so much.
You gotta think about those keyboard warriors too.
Yep, they're
uh,
around.
Yeah.
All right, so Simone, how do you practice and stay consistent when it's not hunting season?
Practice one in particular or just the whole spiel?
The whole field.
Yeah, man. So like to me, it's like there's really no off season. You will often hear that term of people saying, "Oh, there's an off
Mm.
season." Like right now, right? December, it's often what people would say the end of the season. But to me, there's certain things. So like one is trying to keep in shape. So I'm usually outside like pretty much consistently. Like either whether I'm fishing or I'm setting up trail cams, hiking around, learning new spots. I'm doing that like every single month, pretty much, right? And on top of that, like try to find things that I can hunt throughout the year. So like in the turkey for turkey, like I'll hunt that in the spring. Spring bear, I'll hunt that in the spring. That'll keep my legs somewhat in shape too. But then, like I said, our spring bear ends in June, and August is bear opener. So like if you think about it, like there's really no such thing as an off season because the calendars are so tight, and so you're always out there doing something. But that's just one of the things when it comes to physical fitness is just maintaining that level of conditioning. Is you kind of just constantly put yourself out there, whether you're just hiking around for fun, doing trail camp, or shed hunting. That's blown up big time in the past couple of years, or actually hunting. That's one thing is like just staying conditioned. And sometimes you'll go to the gym and just go work out with your friends and whatnot. The other one is what I think a lot of people don't put enough emphasis on is actually shooting your equipment. Some people they will put their rifle in the safe and like the week before opener, they'll go grab their gun and go shoot the range like 5 times and they'll go hunt. But to me, it's like I try to go and shoot my guns at minimum once a month to make sure that my guns are on, to make sure that I haven't lost my touch, and just be comfortable with your equipment because most of the times the reason why people come home empty-handed is because they butcher a shot. They miss. It's not because they didn't go out there and see nothing. It's because they just didn't execute their shot when it mattered. And so like you're just constantly doing these repetitions to make sure that you're not losing touch. And that's how you stay on top of your game because man, it's super easy to fall behind if you're starting to slack off. And so one, always be out there, make sure you're staying somewhat in shape. And then two, on top of that, your equipment, just make sure that your equipment's dialed.
Yeah, I always stress about, you got to shoot the moment like it's like your actual hunting moment. Probably could and Christian understand, like, it's different when you're shooting, but when you hear that timer go off, like it's different. It's a different feeling. So practice to how you're gonna hunt, practice how you're gonna shoot. It just,
Yep.
it drives me nuts when I hear people that, oh yeah, it's hunting season next week. I'm gonna take out my gun or take out my bow. I'm like, oh my God, those guys.
Yeah, dude. There's always those people because sometimes it's just out of ignorance, like they don't know, right? Like some people will pull out their bow like the day before a season and it's like not even sighted in, bow's not even tuned, and I'm like, dude, I can't help you, man. Like you're a little
Bro,
bit
it
too late to
drives
the
me
game.
nuts. Oh
It's just yeah,
man.
it's just like that, right? I mean, there's so much correlation from like hunting to like sh competition shooting, right? It's basically just like imagine going to a competition shoot, but you didn't even properly do your hand loads, right? And so you end up going to the competition shoot with a box of factory ammunition that your gun doesn't even like. It's like you didn't properly plan for it.
Preparation is key.
Yep.
Speaking of shooting, how do you practice with your rifle?
Yeah, so actually just like 20 minutes down from where I live, we have a range that has targets all the way out to 1,000 yards.
Oh,
And so like I'm not a competition shooter. Like I'm a hunter, and so like I don't really worry about doing time shoots or whatnot. So I'll just go out there sometimes when I'm bored and just go and verify my dope and just plink at longer distances and whatnot, just to make sure that the gun is still on and whatnot. But I keep it pretty streamlined. I keep it pretty real to like what I would do in a hunting situation, right? A lot of times it's one shot that counts,
Mhm.
and so a lot of times I'll go out there and just do like cold bore shots, right? It's not like a competition shoot where you're trying to get a lot of targets in a set amount of time.
Mhm.
it's so different from a target shooting perspective than going to like a live animal. Huge difference. Oh man, people don't realize it. It's a big difference.
Yeah, it's a little bit more nerve-wracking when your target walks around and they don't
Yep.
sit still for you, And so, but the other thing too is like we do have a lot of like PRS competition matches here around where I live. I've just never done it because I just don't have time for it. But one of my cousins, he's pretty big into it. He enters into PRS a lot, but just haven't got into it.
Can't imagine the
But
crowd. You probably got a big crowd there.
Oh, dude, yeah, there's a lot of land to do stuff here with.
Yeah.
Samong, what's his name? We're trying to get some PRS to guys together and talk to them about PRS.
Daniel. He
Okay.
has a YouTube channel too. It's
Does
D,
he?
yeah, D Moa. Do you guys know? It's just the initial D and then Moa,
Uh-huh.
Oh,
Moua
I've seen his
Outdoors.
YouTube. I've seen his YouTube. Yeah.
Yeah,
Okay.
he's my
Hmm.
cousin, but he's really gotten into the whole PRS matches and competition shooting in the past like couple years. He's really big into that stuff. So like he hand loads everything and you know,
Mhm.
you name it. Like whatever you guys do, he probably does it.
All right.
We'll make a note of that. We definitely want to do a podcast on PRS.
Yeah. He's the guy for that. I'm not the guy for that.
Chasing the meat.
That's right.
That's what she said. All right. So the next question is, at your skill level, what are you still trying to improve?
Dude, man, that improvement ladder is endless, man. So like
Hmm.
one of the things, so like I'm a rifle hunter by nature. And so one of the things that I'm just recently starting to do is like actually like up my archery game because in today like I'm not the best shooter. I'll be the first one to admit that. But a lot of times if you put an animal in front of me, I'm usually pretty cold in that moment. Like I still don't get buck fever anymore. Like cuz you put yourself in that situation so many times that you kind of learn how to control your emotions a little bit better, right?
Like in nature.
But then if you swap that rifle with a bow, I'm falling apart. Like, because it's so different with a bow than looking through a deer through a scope because it's just completely different. Because a lot of times with the bow, by the time you're at full draw, the animal's really, really close. With a rifle, you can be 300, 400 yards out and he has no idea you're there. So you can get away with a little bit of movement and whatnot. But some of the things that I always do is I always try to be a better shot. So every single year, like I'm just still trying to maintain like shoot better, learn better with reading wind, how my bullets are flying in the wind, because that's the biggest thing when it comes to long range shooting is it's not really your elevation that's gonna bite you. It's usually the windage that's gonna bite you, and that's probably true for most PRS shooters. It's like the wind is what happens to a lot of those misses, and so that's one of the things that I'm always trying to do. And like I said, I probably would never master it, but it's something that you can always improve on. The other one is just learning trigger discipline, always trying to figure out, always doing research, what's new, what's something that can help me be a better hunter, be a better shooter out there. And so you're always just kind of keeping tabs on the market, especially like new cartridges coming out, new accessories coming out and whatnot. But that's for hunting side. For bow, man, like I'm basically still at ground zero. Like just need to get past 40 yards before I can even get to the next step with the bow.
You should stop by Minnesota on your way to Georgia, man.
Hey, I'm driving, so I can go wherever I want.
Hey, dude, if you were to drive through, like come by Minnesota, the people would love to meet you. People would
Yeah,
love you.
man, I'll definitely think about it because it honestly is just going to depends on how bad the roads are at that point because
Oh yeah,
it's
go
like a month from
January.
now, so like I don't really know what the road conditions are like, but I'll definitely put that into consideration.
We'll get a fan group out. Some fangirls, you know.
So, how has your skill set evolved over the years? What do you focus on now that you didn't before?
Yeah, I think a lot of that just comes down to actually learning how to hunt better. So like nowadays, actually just finding animals tends to be easier because like I was saying earlier, like every single year, like what I learned this year, it doesn't go away. It sticks with you for the rest of your life. So every single year, you're learning something new. So you're learning better areas, you're learning better herds, you're learning new herds, new deer, new areas, how to more effectively hunt a certain area, where the better vantages are, where you can glass and see better country and whatnot. And so one of the best things that I can say that, or one of the better things that I can say that I've doing better now is just the idea that I can have an easier time finding animals that I'm actually trying to target because back then it was like I'm blindly walking out there hoping I get lucky and stumble upon something, right? But nowadays, like I'm actually strategically positioning myself in places where I have the highest percentage of actually encountering something. And so that's the biggest thing that I always try to work on because you can be the best shot in the world, but you ain't shooting nothing if you can't find an animal, right? So it's you kind of have to put both worlds together for it to actually come to fruition there. And so that's the biggest thing that I would say over the past years is just I've become a better woodsman. I guess I can say that. It's just you learn the animals better, you have a better idea of how they work. You have an easier finding them.
You like the term woodsmanship, like I can't stress it enough to like, especially being out
Yeah.
west with you guys, like people just don't realize that the woodsmanship makes a huge difference. Like even when you tracking your animal after you shoot it, like you
Hmm.
don't know how to track, you're just relying on blood. Like you're a leaf in the wind, dude.
Yeah.
What's the longest shot you took?
Longest shot I've took and killed or longest shot I've taken in general.
Oh, kill.
The longest shot I've ever taken and killed was 490. but that's also the farthest I've ever shot at an animal.
Mm.
Well, actually, I lied. Okay, I shot an elk at 500 yards. That's actually the farthest one I've shot. 500 yards. Uh, I shot in my elk in 2019. I killed him with that one, and then I don't really shoot past 500 yards when it comes to hunting. It's just I feel like I can often get close or sub 500, so I usually just don't even bother with 500 and beyond shots. So 500, but to be exact, it was 499.7 when I took that shot. So not quite 500, but it was right there.
We'll let you round up. We'll give you some grace. So, what do you do in instances like that? I mean, because 500 yards, that's you've got plenty of space between you and the animals. Are you like stalking closer?
Yeah, so the thing about here is like, man, the mountains and where you hunt is so
Hmm.
diverse. Sometimes 500 yards is all you're gonna get. Like that's
Mm.
how close you can get until you have to literally get on top of the animal, right? But then when you're doing those things and when you see an animal, it's always what is the best spot that I can shoot this animal and still have the highest yield of actually killing this animal, right? So there's a balance between getting close, having an effective rest, and also not having that animal run, right? So all three of those aspects have to come together for you to actually be able to execute a stalk. And so my general rule of thumb is my first thing I always do is I will always try to get as close as I can. That's the first thing. The second one is what does that look like? Does that mean you can get to 100 yards and still not spook them, or does that mean I can get to 400 yards before I spook them? And so like there's some like leniency there where you kind of have to like play by ear in that moment to just decide like what's the actual best play on that. So I don't practice to shoot 500 yards to purposely go and shoot an animal at 500 yards. Like if I see an animal at 300 yards, I'm not going to back up to 500 yards just to shoot him at 500 yards. Like I'm going to take a 300-yard shot if I can, right? And so I practice longer distances just to be able to, in those instances where I can't get close enough, to still be able to effectively take down the animal. But it's always get close first, get to the closest you can, have a good rest, and then take that shot.
How far do
Mm.
you zero your scope? And what
So
caliber?
on all my rifles, doesn't matter what caliber cartridge it is, I have a 100-yard zero.
Okay.
Because with how I hunt, it's one, it's just easier for me to calculate. Like if I have to do a calculate on the fly, having a 100-yard zero is way more simple with how my brain works. But on top of that, like I said, with how I hunt, I don't just sit and shoot long range. Like sometimes I will be sneaking through the timber. I'll have shots at 50 yards. And so I want my gun to be able to still be accurate enough at 50 yards or 20 yards or whatever the distance is, right? Because a lot of times if you have a 400-yard shot, the animal is going to give you plenty of time to dial and get set up. But an animal at 50 yards, most of the times, those are the animals that aren't giving you the time to do your stuff, right? It's a lot of times pick up your rifle and shoot the animal at 50 yards.
Mm.
So if you had two shot scenarios, if you had an elk at 500 or an elk at 20 yards, 500 with the rifle, but 20 yards with the bow, which one would you like say that I got this all day?
And you're talking about both our broadside.
Yeah, both broadside, perfect
Uh,
shot.
in
Every
in that
everything.
case, I will take the 20-yard bow shot
Yeah.
because I am more confident with the bow at 20 yards than I am with the rifle at 500 yards.
Okay.
Now, if you said the bow shot at like 35 yards, I'd probably take the 500-yard shot with the rifle.
Man, you gotta stop Minnesota. We gotta shoot some arrows, man.
Yeah, I always say that because one, like I like to be a little bit cautious. Like honestly, I'm probably underselling myself a little bit, but I like to go in with that mindset because it pushes you to be a little bit more comfortable with that
Yep.
shot before you take that shot, right? But the reason why I bring it up like that is because, man, today like we have archers that will like shoot 80 yards at an animal, and I'm like, dude, that seems very far. And so I'm like cognizantly, because I will go out and I will talk to some people who literally got a rifle like 3 weeks ago, and they'll be like, "Oh, I'll shoot 600 yards." And in my head, I'm like, "There ain't no way you hit 600 yards, bro. Like you got a 3x9x40 scope on there. You don't even know what group sizes you have at 100 yards are, right?" And so like I'm trying to put myself in relative to the archery world, right? Like I'm that new guy who I'm not trying to get ahead of myself, right? Like I'm trying to be realistic with what I can do because the truth is like I don't take shots at an animal unless like in my gut instinct I'm like I'm gonna kill this animal. Right. Obviously it's not perfect. Sometimes things go wrong, but like if I'm not stone cold and I'm like I got this, like a lot of times I'll pass up that opportunity.
That's a responsible shooter, though. It's a responsible hunter.
Hmm.
Yeah, I
Hmm.
mean, I just think that that's something that everybody should do. And then on top of that, when you have thousands of people watching you, you better make that shot count.
Oh, that's true. That's true. I forgot that. Yeah. So you're recording all these hunts, and so I mean, even when I make videos and stuff, it's always in the back of my head that people are watching me. They're going to criticize me, so I need to address their complaints before I do anything.
Yeah. And it's not really like it's not to say that, oh, I would take a bad shot if there
Hmm.
weren't people watching me, right? All I'm saying is there is that additional factor to like
Hmm.
encourage you even above your own ethics to
Yeah.
really make it count, right? So sometimes like if you're like on the fence, like, oh, I don't know if I should take that, and then that thought comes in, it's like, all right,
Hmm.
pass up that shot.
All right, so this might be a stupid question since I'm not a hunter, but if you were to take like a shot at 500 yards, how confident are you knowing that there's no one behind the target that you might accidentally hit? How do you know,
Yeah.
or what do you think about before you take that shot?
Well, a lot of times with that, it just depends on how the animal's positioned. Like if the animal is standing on the side of a face of a ridge, like your bullet's not going through a whole hill. Like it's gonna stop behind the animal. So a lot of times you're probably more referring to like a skyline shot where like the animal's standing on top of this of a spine, and like if you miss, like that bullet is just sailing into the sky. So a lot of times that's called a skyline shot, and that's actually a shot that's looked down upon, and most people would pass up that shot. And I
Mm,
would too.
mm,
But in certain situations, like you can have an animal that's he's technically skylined, right? But then there's a ridge that's a little bit farther off in the background, like let's say like 300 yards behind him. So it's like it's technically like a skyline shot, but it's also not really a skyline shot in the event that you know that that bullet is going to hit that far offside ridge. So like the elk that I shot this year in Washington, like that's exactly what happened. Like the elk was technically on top of the spine of the ridge, but I could see that far adjacent ridge. And on
mm,
top of that, like this is some of the gnarliest country. And one of the things that happens in that video is like I'm walking down on that ridge above the elk. And when I was walking down above that ridge, like I could see both sides of the canyon. And I already knew nobody was coming up from the bottom because nobody's crazy enough to come up from the bottom down there anyway. And so I can already tell, like, when we were still doing that stock before I even got set up to take my shot, like, there was nobody around, like, literally nobody around because you're also required to wear Hunter Orange. And so Hunter Orange is extremely easy to spot, especially in open country like that. So
mm,
it's one thing to just like when you're making a stock like that, actually be cognizant of what's actually around before you break that shot off. But
mm.
yes, you're the idea you're referring to is a skyline shot, and that is often a shot that is frowned upon. And I would encourage most people to not take that shot if you weren't 100% sure about what was beyond your target.
Okay. All right, that makes sense. All right,
Take
let's
that shot all day, right?
that's me, man. If I see an animal, I'm gonna shoot it. I shouldn't hunt. All right. All right. One last question before we get into the content stuff. Have you ever experienced any supernatural stuff in the woods?
Hmm. If I did, I was probably oblivious to it. But I don't think I have. Honestly, I don't think I have. I mean, I've had like quote unquote scary encounters with like animals, but like I don't know if I would say I had a supernatural encounter with anything, at least not to my knowledge. I mean, I've been charged by bears, but I mean, been surrounded by wolves. Like that's probably the scariest that I can recount, but something supernatural, I don't think so. I
All all right. Share those scary animal moments.
Yeah, so here in Washington, our wolves are protected, so you can't legally
Gotta
hunt
love the
them.
wolves, right?
Yeah, and so when you have an apex predator like that, where they're protected, and when they see people, they know you don't harm them, they get pretty bold.
Mm,
They don't have fear of people, and so here in Washington, basically my backyard, Northeast Washington, like we have a lot of wolves, and we have a lot of wolf packs, and they live in areas where I frequently hunt. And so encountering wolves in there, it's like every time I'm saying I'm gonna go hunt there, like I'm already expecting to encounter wolves, whether I'm gonna see them, I'm gonna hear them, or be on their tracks, or eventually encounter them some way or another. And so like I go into those spots knowing like, oh, these wolves are a thing. But at the same time, it's like I'm not scared of wolves. Maybe because it's out of spite, like I don't really care. Like if they charge me and I have to shoot myself in the self-defense. It's like, whatever, you deserve that, right? In a way, like you kind of have a spite built up with these wolves, right? And so it was 2021 where I took my two friends, Nate and Steve. You guys may have seen them on the channel, but they're new to this spot and they've never encountered wolves before, right? And so we're going in this spot, and I didn't tell them that there were wolves in this area. So like, because I don't think much about it. It's just like whatever. We're just gonna go to this spot. And so we're hunting for Steve's deer, his whitetail tag. And so we hike into the spot, and we spend all day, and we don't see a single deer, which is very common when a wolf is in an area. When a wolf pack is in an area, like the deer and elk know, and they just hole up. So we go in there, we don't see a single deer all day. And so we're about like 6 miles in, so we start hiking out in the dark. And as we're coming back on the main road, like we start hearing this wolf howling like to our front right, maybe like a mile on the other side of the creek. And Steve and Nate, they're like, "Oh my goodness, dude! Like, there's wolves here, man! Like, this is awesome!" And I'm like, I didn't care. Like, I just kept walking. I was just like, I don't care about these wolves. I want to get back to the truck. And then we start. I mean, like, we're kind of where we have to go. We're kind of heading towards where that wolf is howling in a way. And so when we got close, I looked at Steve and Nate. I was like, "Hey, just to let you guys know, a lot of times when you hear a wolf howling like that, we're already surrounded. Like, just letting you guys know." And immediately when I said that, like the mood, I could tell the mood between the two guys, like it switched because they're like, wait, what? What do you say? Like, and so they start walking so fast, and I've never seen these two walk this fast before, right? And I'm like, what the heck? Like, what? Nothing's even happened yet. Like the wolf is still across on the other creek side. And so we go like another 500 yards, and I stop, and I'm like, all right, I should just film this and get this into video. So like I'm filming and like getting this wolf howling across, and then like 100 yards to our left, like behind us, another wolf starts barking at us. Like he's close, but it's dark because we're in the pitch black. He starts barking, and Steve and Nate, they stop, and they're like, dude, is that a dog? I was like, oh no, that's a wolf. Like I told you guys, like we're surrounded. I already told you we're surrounded by the pack. And so, dude, they just put the heads to the ground and they just start going, dude. Like they don't even care about me anymore. I'm just sitting there in the dark. They're like, dude, we got to get back to the truck. And so we get out there, and what basically those wolves, even though they're bold and they're not really scared or scared of you, they will kind of just parallel you the whole way. So like as we were walking, they would just keep their distance, but like they're pacing themselves with us all the way back to the truck. And it's funny because we had hiked about 5 miles, and so we were basically almost back to the truck, and we had stopped hearing them, right? And so because the original wolf that was howling, he was still howling way off. And Steve and Nate was like, man, like that's crazy that they followed us all the way up to that point. And as soon as they said that, dude, a wolf howled like 50 yards behind us, and bro, they booked it to the truck, dude. Like I was like, dude, they're not gonna let us go until we get out of here in the truck. And so it's just a funny story. But like one of the things about it is like when you are around wolves so much, which I basically am around wolves every single year here, like you kind of build this shield around them where you're not super scared of them. Like it's just part of what you're going to encounter out there, right? Same like a lot of people that live in Alaska where they're constantly around grizzly bears. Like I'm terrified of a grizzly bear, but people that live in the bush in Alaska, they're just like, oh yeah, there's a grizzly bear. Like they don't think much about it. But to rewind the bear charge, this was like kind of just me asking for it. So it's 2019. This was the first year I can actually drive. So I was doing a lot of solo hunts, and this is the year where Washington actually opened statewide for bear to open in August. So I went up to a spot where it's full of huckleberries. I glassed up like 8 bears on that ridge. And I'm like, wow, there's a lot of bears over there. And the road that I'm on basically cuts over to that ridge that those bears are on too. But basically every single bear, except for two, were below the road. There was a sow and a cub above the road, but then there was a really, really big boar right below the road. And so I'm like, all right, I'm going to take this road over and I'm going to shoot that really big boar. And so I start making my way over there. And by the time I had gone over there, that big bear had crested over to the other side of the ridge. And so I'm like, all right, well, I need to go to that point so I can look down behind the ridge and hopefully I can see that big bear eating or doing whatever behind the ridge. And so I get to that point, and immediately, like again, there was a sow and a cub above the road. That big boar is below the road. I'm in the middle, and I just hear a hoof, like a wolf behind me above the road. And I turn back, and immediately I'm already like, I already know what this is. Like this is that sow and that cub. And I look up and it's so thick, like you can't see anything because it's
Oh,
thick.
you're testing it.
And you just see, and I can tell like something's running at me, and you just see the top of the bushes like moving, almost like a horror movie where like there's a predator running at you, but you can't see it, but you just see the bushes moving. And immediately, I'm still filming, so I just throw my camera on the ground. I pull out my rifle, and I'm just waiting. And as she's about to pop out where I can see her, which is like 30 yards, like the wind switches, and the wind hits me on the back of my neck and blows straight to her, and she stops. And so as she stops, because I'm assuming at first she thought I was probably another bear that got too close. And then when she smelled me, she stopped because she's like, "Look, that doesn't smell right. That smells weird." So she stops, and instead of coming at me now, she's kind of like pacing back and forth, like just kind of like almost drawing a perpendicular line between me and her cub. And so she's like hoofing back and forth through the trees, and I can just see the bushes moving. And I'm like, at that time, you could technically legally shoot a sow with a cub. This year they just banned it. And I had no intention of shooting a sow with a cub, but I was like, dude, if it comes to self-defense, like I will shoot this cow. Fortunately for her and fortunately for me, after like doing that for, I don't know, felt like forever, she started running back up the ridge, and then I saw her cub climb up into a tree. And I was like, all right, just to confirm, it was a sow and a cub. Uh, I'm never gonna do that again. I know there's a sound to come. Next time, I'll find a different way to shoot that big boar instead of putting myself in the immediate vicinity of a sound to come. So it's pretty scary, but again, it's just like it sounds scary, but honestly, when you're in those moments and adrenaline is running, dude, you're just locked in, man. Like your body's just kind of moving, and you seems like you're doing everything flawlessly in that moment. But we'll never know because she never actually fully engaged on the charge, which I'm thankful for. But those are basically the only two that I could think off the top of my head.
You know,
Man, you put yourself in a tough spot there.
Yeah, I was kind of asking for it, so like I don't blame the Sal for charging.
I know what happened. That beautiful skinwalker girlfriend protected you, man.
Well, she sure as heck didn't show herself to me, so I don't know if I could give her credit.
I'm just kidding.
Steven, have you seen anything weird out? You gotta tell us.
Oh man, I got a couple.
Ooh,
Oh,
please
Got
do
a
share.
couple. I do have a couple.
Mm.
Um, Here I'll share one pretty. This probably happened like 2 years ago.
Mhm.
This is a weird one. I've only told a couple guys like at a campfire. Uh, just for like identity purpose, I'm not gonna say where, but I went out of state. Okay, visiting some family out of state. And before we hit the road, I was like, yo, I'll hit them up. Maybe they'll take me to a couple hunting spots. So I know I brought all my hunting equipment. I brought my bow and everything. And with this family event, and they're like, "Yeah, we could take you." Couple of the guys, yeah, we'll take you. Yeah, we're gonna go tomorrow morning, anyways. So I'm okay, yeah, let's do it. Then tomorrow, let's meet up like 3 o'clock in the morning. We'll take off. I didn't sleep at all. When you visit out of state, you don't sleep at all. Family they just want to keep you up. But I was fine. So we went out and let's call this guy Jerry, okay? Jerry's like, yeah, dude, it's an easy walk. We're gonna go there first, and the other two guys are gonna meet us. I'm like, okay, cool, cool. So he's like, how far of a hike we got? He's like, oh, it's probably like a 3 mile hike, not that far. Dude, we hiked for almost 2 hours, and then I was like, dude, this is way past like 3 miles. Like, are we almost there? Yeah, we're almost there. And Jerry's an older guy, right? So that older mentality. And he's like, yeah, no, it's almost there. I'm like, dude, I'm like, you said it's there, but we're not there yet. We go like maybe another 300 yards. He's like, okay, we're good. He really stops it. You're hunting right here. I'm gonna hunt like maybe 200 yards away from you. I'm like, okay, okay. And he leaves, and I'm getting my gear. Getting ready to climb my tree. Pitch dark. I'm like, I'm trying to find a tree to climb that looks decent in the dark. So I'm looking around. I'm looking at Onyx. I'm like, hey, these are oak trees. They're not too bad. And I'm climbing. I hook up my line to my bow. I'm climbing, and then something yanks on my line, on my bow. I'm like, I look down with the flashlight, I'm like, what the heck was
What
that?
time was this?
This is probably like, like 4:30, I think. Yeah, 4:30
Uh,
in there. Yeah. Uh,
Still pitch black.
well, I mean, something like that. I don't remember the exact
Mhm.
time, but it was still pitch dark.
Mhm.
And it was a misty day, it was close to 32 degrees, 30, 32. and something yanks on my ball string. I'm like, what the heck? I look down, my ball's perfectly fine. I'm like, okay, probably maybe like I might have jerked it or something. So I climb up again, and this time it was a harder yank. Pop, pop. Like, you know, when you're fishing, you feel that pop, pop. I'm like, what the heck was that? I looked around. I'm like, dude, what the heck is going on? And then I started getting that eerie feeling, the goosebumps. And I'm like, you know, like you guys do you, you do me. I'm not bugging you, just whatever it is. And then I climb up a couple more times and I feel the yank again. I'm like, all right, you're like, you got a problem with me being here? Like say something or do something or show yourself. I'm not afraid of because I've had a couple of encounters though, so I'm like, I'm not bugging you. Why are you bugging me? So that I just keep doing my thing, and then I take off my string off my backpack from my bow, and I clip it to a branch, and I'm setting up, and I see the branch, yank a couple of times, yank a couple of times. I'm like, dude, something's here, something's here, and like my dad's you to teach, so like I know the whole concept of it. I get it. I'm like something is doesn't want me here, so I'm like fuck it. I'm already set up. Like I got it. I'm here. I'm out here pretty far. I'm just gonna set up and hunt. So I set up. I'm all sat down. I pull my bow up, and I'm sitting there. I'm like, okay. I wonder if anything else is gonna happen. I'm like, I'm cold, I'm sweating. I'm getting cold sweats, from hiking so far. So I'm sitting there, and I kind of doze off a little bit, and then I hear like some rustling under me. I'm like, oh, is it a raccoon or something? I'm like, I don't want to turn my light on, but I'm just gonna stay still. But then in the dark, when you're looking, you can obviously tell like something's a different color, right?
Mhm.
So I was looking out in front of me, maybe 20, 30 yards, and I see like a lighter figure walking in the pitch dark. I'm looking, I'm like, that's not normal. I'm looking, I'm like, dude, something's not normal, but I'm like, hey, I was like, I got kind of that feeling, but I'm like, hey, are you human? Are you human? And
Did you
then
talk to it?
yeah, I talked to him, are you human? And then it just kept walking. I'm like, hey, are you human? And it stopped. Obviously, you could tell like that turning motion of the leaves,
Uh-huh.
it turned and you could tell that it was looking up at me. I was like, are you human? And then I turned my light on.
What are you gonna do if it says no?
I turned my light on and nothing's there. So I'm like, oh, okay. I'm like, whatever. I'm like, leave me alone. And then, I turned my light off and I hear rustling behind me. And then I'm like, okay, whatever. And I was like, should I look back? I'm like, no, I'm just gonna stay still. So I sat there for a bit. I was kind of sat there. And then I was kind of, just kind of closing my eyes, just letting my eyes rest. And then I hear her walking towards me. And I peek around the tree, turn the light on, and it was like the quickest, like subtle movement behind the tree. It looked like a naked person. It looked like a naked person. So I was like, what the heck? And then I was like, whatever, I'm just gonna chill and see what happens. And then light, I'm starting to see daylight, and I see like couple deer in front of me walking, and the deer stop, and they're not looking at me, they're looking at whatever's behind me. And then as soon as more and more daylight comes, I look behind me, and it's a cemetery.
Oh my God.
Oh man.
I'm like,
Uh,
son of a bitch, dude, Jerry put me by a cemetery.
there was a reason why Jerry put you in that spot, and he's
Yeah,
like,
I'm
I'm
like,
gonna go hunt over
asshole, never
here.
hunting with them again.
I'm
That's
But
telling
then I
you,
was
cool.
like, this
man.
is freaking weird. I'm like, so I look back, there's nothing. And then the deer walk off. And then I'm like, texting Jerry, I'm like, dude, why'd you put me by a cemetery, man? But then
Dang.
after that, I didn't see anything. I was kind of like, hey, you guys, like, I'm just by the cemetery. I'm not in your cemetery. Like, just leave me alone. Like, I'm not here to cause any problems.
Yeah, I'm on public land, bro.
Yeah.
Yeah, this is America.
Don't you guys
I'm
have
like,
Onyx?
yeah, it was on Onyx too. I'm like, Onyx, they just go nothing. So I was
Oh,
like,
don't the ghosts have Onyx?
yeah.
Yeah,
I
they're not
was like, Jerry,
trespassing.
you asshole. I'm
Yeah,
not hunting with you again.
I know.
I know who that was. That was your skinwalker girlfriend.
Nah, this is cemetery. Uh,
Yeah, that's pretty
wait,
creepy.
Wait, did anything else? Do you have any other stories? You
Um,
said you had a couple. Tell us
I got a
one more.
couple. Okay, I'll give you one more. I'll give you one
All
more.
right. Tell us
Uh,
one more. I'll tell you one of mine.
okay, this is like when I first started hunting with my dad, like squirrel hunting.
Uh-huh.
We were like in Mark Twain National Forest. It's
Hmm.
like huge forest, so down south, more south than either. And
Hmm.
it was me, my dad, my brother, my uncle, and his son. We were hunting on Thanksgiving, you know, and man, the forest is dead on Thanksgiving. I've never seen anything so dead. We walked around for hours and we didn't see anything. And then we crossed this ridge, we're all lined up, just better odds that way. We're all lined up. We're walking, and then my dad's normally like, checking up on us on the walkie every once in a while. We're probably close to 60, 80 yards away from each other in the line. I'm walking through this, I get to the bottom of this valley and then I'm looking and then there's a cave. I'm like, oh, cave. I'm like, it's pretty, like pretty gnarly looking cave. I'm looking at it, and I'm like, oh, like, I'm not gonna test my luck. I'm not gonna go in there, I'm a new hunter, so I'm not very ballsy yet. So I'm looking and then I see like a head pop out. I'm like, what the heck? So And I'm like, what the heck was that? So I take out my gun. I'm looking through the scope. This is probably like close to, you know, 60 yards away. I'm looking through it. I see the
How
head
old are
pop
you?
up. I was probably like 12, 13 around there. Yeah, 12, 13, So not the people calls.
Yeah.
But the head popped out. I'm like, it looks like my dad's hat. Like, what the heck? Like, is that my dad fucking with me? Like, my dad would do that shit. Look again, and then it looked again, and then we caught eyes. For a moment. I looked at it and then it disappeared. It had like at that age, I'm like, dude, it had no freaking eyes. It was pitch dark, like those fucking movies.
Hmm.
I'm looking at it. I look to my left, and my dad's near me to my left. My dad's gone. And then I look to my right, and I see my brother, in his orange hat, and my brother's having a hard time walking up these freaking
Hmm.
hill country. And I'm looking at him like, no, I'm gonna walk towards my brother. Fuck this. So I walked towards my brother, and then my uncle, his son, my cousin, they start walking towards us and like, hey, let's take a break. I'm like, where's your dad? I'm like, my dad was to my left, but he's not there anymore.
Hmm.
And he's like, oh, maybe your dad might be chasing a squirrel down or something. So just sit down, just relax, just chill. And then I'm walking, my dad like calling to the walkie-talkie, hey, where you at? Where you at? He's not picking up. It's nothing but static. And then this branch falls next to us. I'm like, what the heck is going on? So I was like, hey, uncle, let me tell you something. He's like, I don't want to hear it. I was like, why don't you want to hear it? He's like, this forest has some weird shit. Don't tell me. Tell me later at the truck.
Damn.
And then like, we sit there for like maybe 15, 20 minutes, and then my dad's nowhere. And then later, like my dad comes from around behind us. He's like, yeah, dude, I threw a stick at you guys. You guys didn't hear me. And I was chasing down these squirrels over here. And I saw this cave. I'm like, yeah, let's get out of here, Dad. I'll tell you later what happened. He's like, but you guys couldn't hear me. I was yelling at you guys. I was like, oh, he's like, I couldn't walk you guys. I couldn't hear anything. I was like, yeah, I think it's time to get out of here, Dad.
No, he had line of sight and the walkies weren't working.
Yeah, so I was like, yeah, there's something
Dang.
going on here. And I was like, oh man, like it didn't scare me at that age, but it was kind of
Hmm.
like spooky. But I was like, I still like hunting too much. I'm supposed to still keep hunting.
Mark Twain National Forest. Is that Tennessee? Where is that?
It's more south, like Missouri and Arkansas around there. It's
Okay.
huge forest, like it's massive.
Dang. All right, I'll tell you guys one of mine. So I started getting into night vision stuff. And so I'll just go out to my farm and I'll just shoot by myself. And it's creepy because you're out there and it's like 50, 60 acres of land. And so I'll just be there in the middle of the field. I got my rifle and I got my pistol, I got my steel targets, and so I'll just be running night vision stuff. It's kind of creepy, but at the same time, my thought is, I'm the scariest thing out here. So there's a lot of coyotes in the area. I'll hear coyotes. They'll be howling all the time, but I'm not worried about it. And so just kind of in between sets of running different drills, I'll just look up into the sky. And it's real pretty at night, especially if you're out in the country where it's real dark. So you see even more stars. And then if you guys have ever got a chance to look under night vision, there's like 1,000 times more stars if you look under night vision. Except for one time. I look up in the sky, and airplanes flash, right? So as airplanes go, they flash, right? But if it's moving and it's constant, then it's a satellite, right? And then you actually see a lot of shooting stars if you're looking through night vision. So if you guys want a good date idea, and if you want a good reason to tell your wife that, hey, I need a $3,000 night vision set, tell her that you're going to go take her on a date night to go see shooting stars, because you will see shooting stars. You look in the sky for at least like 5 minutes, you pretty much almost guarantee to see shooting stars as long as you're out in the country. So airplanes flash, satellites they just move constantly, um, and shooting stars they flash for like 1 second, just bright streak. But this time I saw something weird. Okay, so going across the sky were these three lights flying together. Okay, so these three lights fly together, and what they'll do is they'll pulse. Okay, so they'll pulse. So they'll fly together, and then they go apart. Fly together, and they go apart. Fly together, flow apart. Right. So these three lights will just pulse like that. Okay, and it's weird. It's creepy because planes don't do that, right? Especially not like 2 o'clock in the morning. Nobody's flying planes in like some kind of formation like that, in like a pulse formation. Um, and it's it's way too high up in the sky, right? So most of like your drones, if you're talking about more like civilian drones, like your DJI stuff, they're not going to be that high up, like several thousand feet up in the sky, right? And so it was really weird and creepy. So I'm over in the Statesville area. We've got our military base over in Fayetteville. That's like another 3 4 hours drive away, so it's pretty far away. And so I was telling my friend about that. He's like, "Oh, so you've seen them too?" Because apparently over in North Carolina, they know about this. Like if you he went to aircraft mechanic school, and so the pilots they all know about this weird phenomenon, this kind of UFO phenomenon where it's just three lights, right? So all the pilots know about it, and they know that you don't talk about it. Okay, so it's one of those weird taboo things that you don't talk about. And so I took my wife out one night. We're just in our front yard, and then I saw it in the front yard, and my wife saw it too. I was like, "Look, there it is!" And so we could see it. It's just flying up in the sky, and so they'll go and they'll fly apart and they'll come together, fly apart, come together. And then I didn't record it, right? But that was probably maybe about a year or two ago since I last saw it, and so I haven't seen it since because I really want to record it when I see it, but I want it too much. And if you want it too much, you're never gonna see it again. But it's a well-known thing. It's probably been well known. I think my one friend said for like maybe about a while now, like a couple decades at least. So yeah, yeah, cool. There's a UFO story for you. So now I'm kind of creeped out to go there in the middle of my farm at like 2 a.m. do shooting just in case I get abducted by aliens.
Do you know what the phenomenon is? Is there a term for it, or is it just that's what people see?
The So my aircraft mechanic friend he said that the pilots know about it. But here's the thing, right? So if you follow like the alien stuff, I was talking to Cool about this. It's well documented now. The U.S. military has documented it. We've seen it. Not that long ago, we blew one up with a missile and it kept on flying, right? The U.S. government knows about it. Congress knows about it. They were talking about this in Congress, how something was flying. We shot it with a missile. It blew up, but it kept on flying. There's freaky things out there. Okay. And so like some of my friends are like, well, that that whole like flying triangle thing, it's probably some kind of US drone thing. So maybe it's a US drone thing. But there's weird freaky things out there.
Wow.
Interesting.
Maybe you
Mhm.
want to research it on that.
It's a deep rabbit hole. It's a deep rabbit hole. And the people who have answers, they're not going to tell you about it. And most everybody else is just speculating on it.
Damn. So you guys telling me that the guy that spent the most in the woods hasn't experienced any supernatural stuff, but you
He's
two.
due. He's due.
Or like I said, like maybe I'm just too dumb to pick up on it, or I'm just too focused on trying to find a deer or something. But I don't know.
I'll tell you one more just for entertainment, okay?
Please do. We
So
love these stories.
what was it? It was a couple years ago, and then I just like the night we're going to sleep, going to get in bed with the wife, and then I was like, you know what? I'm gonna go hunt tomorrow morning. She's like, why? I'm like, why all of a sudden? My wife's like, you gotta give me a head notice so I can like mentally and like, be ready for this. I'm like, so this something just feels right. So I'm gonna go hunt tomorrow. And then, she kind of gave me crap for it, but I was like, either way, I'm still gonna hunt. So yeah, someone don't get married. I'm kidding.
Noted. Noted.
Best advice.
But
I'm
I was
just
like,
kidding.
okay, yeah, I'm gonna go. So I get up, I get all dressed, and I'm just hunting my cousin's property. So and they're all duck hunting, so they drove a couple hours up. Yeah, if I texted them last night. Yeah, you cool with things? Yeah, that's fine. I get there, and it's like a very misty morning. I get there, I'm walking to the tree stand, and then I see a bunch of deer in the field, like far away. Cool. It should be a good morning hunt. So I get in the tree stand. I'm sitting there. I'm just kind of looking around. I wish I had night vision. It'd be awesome. But I'm looking around, and then I see this buck from the distance. It's a full moon too. This buck from the distance, he walks up to the property line of the neighbor, and oh dude, like a good buck. I'm looking at him, and I'm looking at him through the binos. I'm like, he looks too good. He looks really good. Like he almost had like this majestic feeling to it. Simone, you ever see a deer? You're just like, yeah, he's like Muhuti. Like
Oh yeah.
he
Oh
has
yeah.
some like
He,
something to
he
him. I'm like,
he's got aura on him.
yeah, that aura. Just that strong aura. I'm looking at him. I'm like, damn, you're freaking beautiful. I'm like, hopefully you stay
Okay.
around. Legal light comes, I'm gonna freaking take you down. And then legal light comes, like maybe 2 minutes into legal light, but it's still very hard to see. He walks behind me. He loops around me. He walks behind me, and then from 5 yards away, he's behind my tree. I can't look. I can't turn around. I'm in a ladder stand, and then he walks around me, comes under me at 5 yards, and he looks straight up at me. We're just having to stare off. I'm like, how the hell did he know I was here? He just, I wasn't downwind of him or anything. He literally just walked up, and somebody just kind of anybody walking up to you, just looking straight up at you. I'm like, what the hell is going on? I'm like, how the hell did he spot me so fast? And then he looked at me. I swear to God, he winked at me. And then he looked at me, and then he walked upwind, and he bedded like maybe 20, 30 yards away. I could see him. I could see his antlers. And then my wife calls me. She's calling me, calling me, calling me. I'm like, dude, why is she calling me? I'm not picking up. She keeps calling me, calling me, calling me. And then I'm like, fine, fuck it, I'll pick up. And I pick up. I'm like, hey, like, what is it? What are you like? Like, I'm kind of busy right now. She's like, I had a dream that a big old buck walked under your tree stand and was staring at you. And and then what happened? I'm just gonna say, yeah, I'm just responding. And then she said, it told me to tell you not to shoot him.
That's
So
crazy, dude.
yeah, so I was like,
Uh,
oh, okay. So he said there's another one coming, a smaller one. You can shoot him.
yo, that's crazy.
That's
So
a
But
then,
did a
fast
oh,
one.
okay.
small,
Uh,
eh,
I'm like, she's my wife's like, so get your buck. Okay. But then when I
dang.
look back, the buck was gone.
Mhm.
And then like 3 minutes later, a small little one walked by. I got him.
Damn.
Dude, that's crazy.
Yeah, I was like,
Wow,
that's a story untold. But then, like, hey, let the viewers hear it, because it's like, oh, certain people are gifted certain ways.
Mhm.
But I was kind of like, I was just dumbfounded.
Mm.
I was like,
Mhm.
how the hell was this even like taken? Like how did she like portray this to me? I was kind of nobody will ever believe this. Yeah,
wow.
Ooh.
it's something that we can't control, man.
Mhm.
That's a great story, man.
That's the moon people
Pretty
shit right there.
creepy too, though.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I got one more. I got one more ghost story. So this one's for Koo because this is something Koo likes to talk about. All right. So
Skinwalkers.
this, no, not skinwalkers. No. So actually, this is back when I was probably like 15 or 16, and so I was up in the mountains in North Carolina. This is for like a summer Bible camp, anyway. So everybody kind of split off. We were gonna do like Bible reading. So everybody splits off, just go around the camp, just go find a nice spot to do like your Bible reading. And so I just go up like one of the small trails. I'm not really far away from camp. Like I can still see camp. I'm probably only like maybe 200 yards away from camp. And so I go up there, and so there's a nice clearing up there. So I'm up there. So I got my Bible, doing my Bible reading, and then so I'm reading, and then I look, and this is too stereotypical. Okay, there's a girl up in front of me, right? Girl up in front of me, long black hair. I don't even think about it, right? Because there's a lot of campers here. Okay, and so she's sitting over there. I'm like, oh, okay. I didn't hear her show up. So like I'll go talk. I'm gonna do my Bible reading. I'll go read. I'll go talk to her in like 10 minutes. Okay. So I'm doing my Bible reading, and then I look up. She's gone. Okay, she's absolutely gone. Right. And so she was sitting. There was a fallen tree, right? So she was sitting on a fallen tree. Okay. And so I was like, where'd she go? Because I didn't hear her come and I didn't hear her leave. Oh, now my lights are automatically turning off because it's 9 o'clock. Give me 1 second. I
That's
have
a
my
sign.
powers.
The sign.
I know. I know. Now my thing's not turning on.
He's getting scared, man. Can't tell a scary story in the dark.
It's okay. I've got like 20 Glocks around me. I'm all right. Um. Anyway, so I didn't hear her come. I didn't hear her leave, right? And so I go and I sit on that fallen tree that she was sitting on, and the whole thing just collapses. Right? The whole thing collapses. I'm like, what the heck? Like, how is she sitting on this? Like the whole thing was unsteady. It just collapsed as soon as I sat on it. And so everybody gets back together for lunch. And then so I start looking around for that girl, and I realize that there's only one Hispanic girl at the camp, and there's only one black girl at the camp. The only ones with black hair. The black girl, she's got curly hair, right? And then the one Hispanic girl, her hair is like shoulder length, right? So none of them had like that long, like down to the waist, long black hair. And so I'm like, what did I see up there? So that was it. I saw that, and I never got an answer on what it was. So there you
Maybe it's
go,
a
Koo.
maybe it's a good thing you don't know what it was and you
Yeah,
got a cliffhanger.
yeah.
That was your skinwalker girlfriend, man.
Maybe it was.
Keep telling you guys, man.
Maybe it was.
All right, man. All right. Let's get back on track. All right, Simon. Let's talk about the content stuff, and Vortex and stuff. Um, when you started growing online, did you expect your content to take off the way it did?
Yes and no. Because when I started this, like I said, I started this channel in what 2016, and I never really had a goal to make it a job or anything. I did it because I just liked doing it. Yeah, it was like a hobby, right? And so like growing this thing out to basically what it is, like that wasn't even really a thing. It was just like I'm just gonna post videos because I enjoyed posting it. It kind of just so happened to work out in my favor, especially with the timing of it all, because like I said, I didn't go to school for videography or photography, so everything I've done here is basically self-taught. And so in 2016, when I started this channel, that was basically like my freshman, sophomore year of college. And so as I was in college, like I was just doing this on the side. Like that's what kept me entertained because most of the people my age, like my friends, like they were into sports. Like they played volleyball and stuff like that. But I didn't care about sports. Like I just wanted to go fish and hunt. And so that's what I focused on. And then yeah, in 2020 graduated from college, but then that was like peak COVID, couldn't get a job. And so I was like, well, more time to go hunt and fish. So I just went hunting and fishing and then I just kept doing YouTube. And then at that point there was enough growth to basically say, oh, there's light at the end of this tunnel to make it something bigger. And then yeah, it just worked out. Like the timing of it just was in my favor for it to be able to grow the way it did.
So, as a home content creator, or working with major brand and in the outdoors and firearm world, what kind of pressure or responsibility do you feel when you're representing both your culture and the companies at the same time?
Yeah, it's funny because it's like I never really thought much about it until recently because I just like for the longest time, it was like I wasn't representing anybody. I was just representing myself.
Mm-hmm.
And part of it, I would still say that's true. Like I'm like I don't really represent anybody because I never really thought of myself as a status symbol for anybody else other than myself. But more commonly now, like I do see myself more as a face of a lot of the brands I work with, more so than like obviously Hmong people will recognize me as that guy that hunts and fishes, obviously. But from a more professional standpoint, a lot of the companies I work with. So nowadays, when I do things, it's like I'm not just thinking about, okay, well, what does this make me look like? It's also, okay, how can I best represent these brands that I'm working with, I'm partnered with in the best light possible too. So like a lot of decisions that would be good selfishly, it wouldn't necessarily be a good look for partners or my companies that I work with. And so like you have to really be cognizant of every single decision you're going to make of how that impacts not just me or but everybody. But then to go one step further, like you said too, it's like your community because there's a lot of people they didn't even know Asians hunted. They're like, dude, came across your videos. You're literally the first Asian that I saw that hunted. And so when you start seeing comments like that, that's when it starts building a little bit of pressure. Like, all right, so I literally have first dibs at giving these guys either a good or bad impression about Asians being on the outdoor space or whatever it is, right? And so nowadays it's like you think about it, but at the same time, I also firmly believe that if that's just who you are, you don't think much about it, right? Like if you're naturally quote unquote good, you don't really have to go out of your way to act good, right? Like that's
Mm-hmm.
just who you are, that's how you portray. And so that's just kind of what I stuck with, and it's led me to where I am today. So in terms of pressure, I don't really feel it because I don't think much about it. But to take one step back further, it's like yes, there is some type of burden that you carry on your shoulders that I just don't think about it too often, I guess.
Facts. Facts.
Yeah, keep doing what you're doing, man. You're doing great.
No,
Yep.
I appreciate it.
So we were talking about Vortex earlier. So
Mhm.
did you reach out to Vortex or did they reach out to you? How did
Yeah,
that
this is
go?
a funny story. So this was 2019, at the end of 2019. So basically I hit 10,000 subscribers on the channel and I'm like, oh my goodness, like this is the biggest accomplishment of my life, right? And so I was like, for 10,000 I wanted to do a giveaway. And at that time like I had no connections to the hunting industry, like I didn't know anybody. And so Exo Mountain Gear, I don't know if you guys are familiar with them, but they're a pack company based here in Idaho. Mark Holsing, he was actually the one that first ever time reached out to me because I bought one of their packs in 2018. I did a really crappy job reviewing the pack, but Mark saw it and he liked it. He's like, "Hey man, here's a $25 gift card to the Exo Mountain Gear shop." And so for 10,000 subscribers, I was like, "All right, well, I can ask Mark to see if Exo wants to pitch in something." And at the same time, I was like, "But I kind of want to pitch in something else." And so I went, I asked Mark, and Mark was able to give me three different prizes. And then I went to Vortex because at the time I had a Vortex Diamondback binocular, one of like their low ends. No connections to Vortex, so I went on their website, found their customer service email, and I sent it. I sent an email to the customer service, and I said, "Hey man, I'm Samong. And I have a small YouTube channel, just hit 10,000 subscribers. Looking to do a giveaway. Just wanted to see if you guys were willing to donate a binocular." That's all I asked. I asked for a binocular for a giveaway. I think it was the next day or 2 days later, I get an email back, and it's not a sales rep. It's actually one of their marketing guys that reached back out, and I'm like, what the heck? Like, why are they making this so complicated? I asked for a binocular, man. Like, I don't want anything more. So his name is Jameson, and he's like, hey man, like, if you have time, like, I'd love to hop on a call. And I'm like, all right, I guess. So we get on a call, right? Set up a call like 3 days later. And I get on a call just like this. And boom, their whole marketing team is sitting in front of me through the computer screen. And I'm like, what the heck, dude? Like, this is the process that they go just to give me a binocular. Like, I'm sitting here with the whole marketing team, like top of marketing to the bottom of the marketing. Like, a whole team was sitting at a table. And I was like, this is so awkward. Like, I don't even know what I'm supposed to say. And so they basically came in. They said, "Hey, man, first off, yes, we would love to help you with your giveaway. But on top of that, like, if you're down for it, we'd love to go one step further and sign you." And I'm like, what does that even mean? Like, I don't know what that means, because at that time, business lingo was not in my vocabulary. And so long story short, they're like, yeah, man, we watched through your channel stuff. We like what you do. We'd love to pick you up. And I was like, I was not saying no to that. Like, do you realize how dumb you gotta be to say no to that? And so I said yes, obviously. And so that's kind of how it came together. It came out because I wanted a pair of binoculars to give away to one of my viewers, and in return, I somehow got a contract with Vortex. And so yeah, I've been with Vortex ever since.
That's
Sheesh.
awesome. That's awesome.
So
That
Dude.
hey,
that is awesome.
it's a testament to shoot your shot because you don't
Hmm.
know what's gonna come from it.
That's awesome.
I agree 100%, man. Just like how when I'm looking for guests, right? I'm surprised that some of the guests that come to our podcast, they're like really well known and they answer me. So I was like, damn.
Uh,
Yeah, I found you by cause I listen to Vortex podcast a lot. Like I
yep.
wouldn't say daily. It used to be daily, but it just here and there now. And I saw they upload a video and I saw Samong Yang. I was like, Yang must be a Chinese dude. But I watched it and then I researched. I was like, oh shit, this guy is a Hmong dude. I was like,
Uh-huh.
and then like, a couple years later, I reached out to you.
Yeah,
Or not a
man.
couple years later, a couple months later. Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, that's like, so that's how I found you. I was like, okay, man, nice, nice.
Yeah, that's how I'm acquainted with them. That's how I got on their podcast. I've just been brand partner with them for the past like 6, 7 years.
All right, you don't have
That's
to
awesome.
you don't have to answer this question if you can't, but do you get paid from them?
Yeah. So yeah, income wise, I guess you could probably break it into three different streams, three different main streams of income. The first one is obviously YouTube ad revenue.
Mhm.
I make money from ad revenue on my videos, and then yes, my big contracts, actually, any of my contracts are paid contracts. So like Vortex is one of them where yes, I do get paid on my contracts with Vortex, but I also work with a bunch of companies where we don't have a formal contract where we sign. It's kind of just like you handshake, you kind of it's a word of mouth agreement where like you just kind of talk and you say yes to each other at hand there. Those ones I don't make money, but a lot of times it's more of just product support. Well, they'll offer me like a product or something for advertisement purposes on my end and whatnot. And then the last one, which I don't really put too much emphasis on, is just like my own website. So like hats, t-shirts, shirts, hoodies, whatever it is. But yeah, that's basically the main two sources of income right there is just ad revenue and sponsorships.
Damn. That's nice, man. So you could basically go to like Vortex headquarters anytime and they'll be like they will know who you are pretty much.
Yeah, so Vortex, like one of the reasons why I love them is because like they're really like my family. So yes,
Mm.
I know most of the people that work at Vortex, and they know me too. It's like when you're a brand ambassador, uh, Vortex does a really good job at taking care of you. And so you will know head of marketing, you will know the whole marketing team. Heck, I even go and talk to some people on the like a customer service table, like the people that you normally would never get face-to-face time with. And you go there and it's just like you're just one of them, which is why I love it because when I attend like the Western Hunting Conservation Expo, like those big hunting shows, Vortex, being as big as they are, they often have a booth. And so like when I get tired, I just go and show in their booth because it's like that's your family, right? Like in that space. And so yes, if I wanted to, I could just go to Wisconsin to the headquarters whenever. I just probably got to tell my rep there, be like, hey, I'm in town, want to stop by real quick, and they'll
Hey,
let
you're
you
making your way to Georgia,
in. Hey,
That's
you
pretty
don't know.
sweet.
Yeah. So that's the thing too. Like a lot of people in today, there's a lot of transactional brand partnerships where like we just pay you, you give us the advertising, whatever. But then the reason why I work with the companies I do is because it's one step farther than that, where it's not just I'm using you to advertise for me and I'm using you to get me money. It's like no, you have a shared purpose, a common goal. But then outside of that, it's like even if that wasn't there, your friends, like your family, right? And so like sometimes I'll be honest, it's like very business unprofessional, but I'll just text them if I need something. Because a lot of times businesses, you go through email, right, to keep it very organized and very professional. But sometimes I'm just like, hey, man, uh, text them, be like, hey, can you send me this real quick? I need something for this weekend or something. And it's just like done. And so that's the reason why I love working with Vortex specifically, because like they just, when you walk there, you don't feel like a customer. You don't feel like somebody that's secondary to them. You're always like neck and neck with them. If you walked in there, I guarantee you, you will not know who the CEO of Vortex is, and you will not know who a customer service rep is because there's humility in the space there where everybody is just equal.
Dude,
Damn.
Vortex is awesome. But like when I used to work in the shop, dude, nothing but good things. Customer service is fantastic. They just take care of you. I miss
Yeah.
Vortex.
Did you used to work for Vortex?
No, I used to. Worked in an outdoor store, and
Okay.
with the Vortex rep, he would come in and we just we BS all the time, have a good time. And they take care of you.
Yeah.
Maybe they take care of you. And I miss Vortex, like
Yep.
just having that level of like talking with them. So
Yep.
but that store closed down, so I don't talk with the rep anymore. But yeah, good stuff.
Yeah, Vortex is they're one of my favorite brands to work with, and it's the reason why we have a 7-year relationship going on and still continuing, right? It's like I tell people, man, your products, it's what draws me to the brand, but it's the people that keep you there, and it's a testament to Vortex right there.
Oh, that's solid. That's solid. I know when I got started my instructing career, I reached out to like Smith and Wesson and Springfield for something similar for like a sponsorship as my social media stuff was increasing. I never heard back from them. So, but good for you, dude. Good for you.
Yeah,
Damn,
yeah, man.
man. Yeah. You made it, man. You
I don't know if
made
I made it,
it.
but I'm coasting, so I can't complain.
Ninja, you made it.
We're happy for you. Absolutely are.
No, I appreciate it so much, man.
All right, so down to our last three question. What do you think is the hardest part about filming when you're outdoor? Because I know that I like to watch, even though I don't consider myself an outdoor person, like in the woods. But I do enjoy watching a lot of bushcraft videos and stuff. And I noticed that some people they go solo, right? They will put the camera like over here, and then they have to walk back, and then just to capture themselves walking. Do you do that? And also, how hard do you think it is to video yourself when you're out in the woods?
Yeah, first off, your first question is, do I set up a camera? No, because I'm too lazy to do that. Like, I'm not gonna set up a camera, walk, and then go pick it up. Like, that's it's too much work for me, man. Like, I keep my videos simple. I'm too lazy. Like, I don't think there's a. I understand why people do it, but for me, it's like I don't care about it. I don't need that shot, right? But in terms of the difficulty, man, it's as difficult as you want it to be.
Mm,
So for example, like fishing and hunting, I film both, but they're really when I film a fishing video, like the mindset behind that is very different than when I'm filming a hunt because hunting and fishing are two completely different sports. It's different, right? Because with fishing, you don't really know when a fish is gonna bite. It's random. But with hunting, you can obviously control when the gun goes off before you shoot an animal, right? So like there's little nuances that make the two different. But in terms of a difficulty aspect, the reason why I say it's as difficult as you make it is because you don't have to film everything, right? Because when it comes to YouTube, you have the creative freedom to do whatever you want. To me, I value trying to put the story together. So that means that there's core pieces for both hunting and fishing that I deem is necessary for the video. So for example, when it comes to hunting, I deem the kill shot as very important into telling the story. But we all know that when you have an animal standing in front of you, the temptation to just shoot it and forget about the camera is really high. Like
hmm
most people won't care about the camera, shoot the animal, and then grab the camera, right? But for me, it's like that moment is pivotal to the success because that's you literally putting your hunt on the line, whether you're going to get an animal or not. So I will go out of my way to try and capture the kill shot. That's hard. And so some people they don't care about it. That's fine. But to me, I like that. And obviously, having to set up a camera because a lot of times I'm self-filming, having to set up that camera before you shoot the animal, it costs you a lot of opportunities. Like I've lost a lot of
It's
animals
stressful.
that I could have killed. Yeah, and so
It's stressful.
but over time it's like you kind of just learn to live with it, right? Like it's like okay, if it's meant to be, like it'll happen. If it's not, it's whatever, right? But the reason why I say it like that is because, again, when you're out there, or at least when I'm out there, as the hunt is unfolding or as the fishing trip is unfolding, I am constantly in my head, like mentally taking note of how that video is already playing out. Because as you're out there, I'm constantly, quote unquote, editing that video in my mind. Because I do that because that way I know, all right, the video is kind of getting boring. I need to pivot here. I need to do something to fill in that gap. Because before I started doing that, where you're taking mental note, real time, I would end up back here on my studio and I'd import all my video clips. And I'm like, dude, this story makes no sense because I didn't film this very crucial portion of the hunt that I should have, right? And so, again, every single person, when it comes to YouTube, especially where you don't have a checklist or a script,
Mm.
you have to be on your A game and tell yourself these are what you need to do to get the proper shots, the proper videos that I need to make the video that I want to come up with, right? And so a lot of the times that just comes from trial and error because you don't really know what you're missing until you realize, oh, I didn't do that. So next time you go out, you learn from that, you do a better job of filming. So what I've done over the years is I've streamlined all my camera equipment where it still allows me to be effective at capturing the shots I want, but also efficient enough where I don't have to spend forever to set up my camera before I can shoot a deer. Because hunting, you're only given so much time before that opportunity goes away, right? And so a lot of people, like some people, their idea is they want to make a film, like a 4K, super high quality film. So they're out there rocking like $8,000 cameras with like giant lens. I'm out here just trying to film a vlog. So I'm using a camcorder where all the zoom is built into the camera. It doesn't record the highest quality, but it's enough to, get me through the project that I want to get through at hand.
Oh man, I get it. A couple times I'm like, screw the camera. I'm just gonna get the kill.
Yeah, and I don't blame you. Like, dude, sometimes I do look at my camera, and I'm like, what am I doing, man? Like, this is not worth it at all. But you just learn to live with it.
Oh man, it's worse when you're tree stand hunting and the deer's coming under you like 10 yards. You got low light conditions. Like, I can't adjust my settings on my camera. Screw it. We're just gonna shoot the deer.
Yeah, see, that's why, like, you take it one step. I shoot auto, man. Like, I turn it on, and if it's too dark for the camera, it's too dark for the camera. I don't even care about messing about settings or anything.
Do you ever think about getting a cameraman?
Yeah, so I've actually started to dabble with this. Like, sometimes what I do is, like, I'll just have my hunting partner, if I have one, you kind of just swap.
Mm.
Like if I'm the shooter and he's just free, like, I would just give him the camera and whatnot. But the problem with that is like I was kind of telling earlier, like the only person that knows how the video is being put together is me because I'm thinking in my head.
Okay,
So
yeah.
sometimes when I give them a camera, I'm like, all right, I need this shot, but they have no idea. So like they don't even turn on the camera, right? And so like there's a battle there. But yeah, one of the things I've started doing, so like my podcast, I have my little cousin Chris. He's been editing the podcast. I've been training him to do the podcast, and on top of that, I take him on some hunts where like he's kind of my camera guy, right? Like he'll take photos and whatnot. But it's a learning curve, right? Like, because I didn't start where I was today, so you just kind of take it one step at a time. But at the moment, if you watch my videos, it's so self-film oriented, where if you took the camera away from me, it's gonna throw a completely different vibe to it, which I don't really know if that's where I want to go because the brand, like my brand, is basically built on my name and my face, right? And so if you took me out, it's like, okay, well, people are not necessarily going to watch you, or maybe something's different. Because, for example, like Meat Eater, which I'm sure you guys are familiar with, when you watch Meat Eater, there's usually only a couple faces that you're there for. And if it's not one of those faces, it's kind of like, I don't know who I'm watching. I'm not going to watch. Same deal.
That is true. That is true. Kind of remind me of T-Rex arms, but you know about T-Rex arms, right, Simone?
I've heard about it. I've seen some of his stuff, but I don't follow him too much.
Okay.
I
Yeah,
heard the drama though. Yes.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
Ever since that drama, nobody watches T-Rex arm no more because the main guy is not there no more.
Exactly.
Yeah,
And it matters, right? That's the
yeah.
thing about building a brand that is so personality specific.
Hmm.
It's a pros and cons. But the good thing about that guy is wherever he goes, everybody
Yeah,
follows him.
yep. Agree 100%. All right, next question. How does your culture background influence your relationship with nature, food, and harvesting your own meat?
Yeah, man. I mean, for all of us, man, Hmong culture, we already know like that's big time, man, because it's rare to find a Hmong person or a Hmong family that is not engaged in hunting or fishing or
Mhm.
some outdoor lifestyle in one way or another, whether they themselves are in it or they know somebody or have a family member that's in it, right? So, like, for example, like my mom, she's huge into gardening, right? Like, she loves to garden, she loves to plant. So, in the summertime, we don't ever buy groceries. We just go into the garden and pick whatever she does or grows. And then, obviously, with us, we fish and we hunt. And so buying meat isn't as common as some people who don't hunt and fish would be. Like we're so reliant on just what we do ourselves, like whether we hunt or sometimes if we don't and we want chicken, like we'll go out to the local farmer and butcher those chickens ourselves. Like we're not gonna go to the store necessarily, right? And so Hmong culture is huge with what I do because it's like I said, when I grew up, it was so natural. Like I don't know life any other way outside of hunting and fishing. Like I joke about it all the time because like if you took hunting and fishing outside of my life, like bro, I don't I don't know where I'd be. Like I don't, what would life be like? I don't know. I really don't know.
Yeah, I definitely agree with that.
So, when you do you cook it the Hmong way or do you cook it the American way?
So usually when I cook, I do it the Mika way, the American way, because my mom usually does it the Hmong way. And when I cook it the Hmong way, nobody else eats the food because
Mm.
it's only mom does it right, right? So if you don't do it mom's way, nobody's touching that food. So I leave the Hmong recipes to her, and then I do my own American recipes on my own. And that's also because my mom's a better cook than I am. I don't know how to cook, so I leave the complicated stuff to her.
Has
Single
your
salt and pepper.
has your Mikau buddies they ever ate what your mom cook? And if they did, what did they think about it?
I don't. They haven't ate anything that my mama specifically cooked, but they've
Okay.
ate things that I've replicated for them.
Okay.
And I don't think they've had a single dish that they haven't disliked because
Okay.
at the same time, I've also been only feeding the best. So like la, like how do you not like la, right? Like that's one of the best dishes you can go, and they all love like pho and all that stuff. And so yeah, I mean, I don't cook food that I don't like, so I'm not gonna give them food that I don't like, right? So most of the time, if I like it, they're probably gonna like it.
Well, I watched your last video when you guys split the three elk, in portions. And
Uh-huh.
I had a funny story too, because back down south when we were hunting with my Mika buddies, you hunt as a party, you always split individually, right? So like, me and my buddy, we shot two, and then our other two Mika buddies, they didn't get anything. And then when we split the deer, the meat evenly, they're like, why the hell are you giving me meat? They're like, "Oh, it's a cultural thing." He's like, don't you take it to the processor? I'm like, I mean, you can, but like, it's just part of the culture, like,
Yep.
so we hunt together, we split the harvest, and
Yep.
I don't know if you ever had your buddies like questioning why you giving me meat.
No, it's funny because I don't know. Like I never really had people raise a question on that, but definitely online. Like I've had people like think like, oh, like that's actually really cool. But like the people that in my immediate space, like I've never had them question about it. If anything, they're stoked that I gave them meat. Like
Yeah.
they're not questioning why I'm giving them meat. But yeah, it's just one of those things because at the same time, like I am very privileged to be able to hunt as much as I can. So usually for me, like meat isn't as rare as it might come by for someone else who only gets to hunt like the weekends or whatnot, right? And
Yeah.
so when like my Mikah friends, when they kill, I don't ask for a single ounce of meat. They'll offer, but I just tell them like I don't need it. And then, but then when I kill something, I will give them their portion if they accept it, right? So it's just like,
The
I
culture.
mean, that's just what Hmong people do, right? Like
Hmong
that's
people,
what
that's
we
what
do.
you
So
do.
like,
Yeah.
I am not gonna ask you to share meat, but I will give you my meat. Like that's
Yeah.
basically how it goes.
It's always more satisfying when you're able to give to somebody they really enjoy it.
Oh
It's
yeah, yeah.
it's so much more satisfying that way. Like I don't my wife doesn't eat deer meat. My boys eat very little, so I can't consume it all myself. So I
Mhm.
always it's very satisfying to give to somebody that can't
Yep.
go where they enjoy it. It makes me feel better.
Oh yeah, and I like sharing. Like
Yep.
the truth is like I love being able to spread around the meat because there are like my family's pretty big, but not everybody's a hunter, right? And so the only time they get to eat wild game is when I give them meat, and so it's a privilege, right? Like to be able to do that, to be in a position to be able to give meat away like that.
So, Samong, as a Hmong person, when you go hunting, do you pack rice and do you cook right at the in the woods?
Yes and no. Like sometimes, like if I'm going on a big family trip, like we will do that.
Okay.
And our kitchen is like what we have at home, dude. We'll have rice cookers there, bro. Like it's it looks no different other than you have a scenic background instead of being in the kitchen. But a lot of times when it's just like I'm on my solo hunts where like I'm running by myself and I don't have time to prep, like I'll just go to the store and buy whatever I can. But if it's usually like my dad or my mom's going around, then I usually let them handle it because the thing about rice, especially if you have cooked rice like that, and you're hunting like cold weather, they don't last forever, right? And sometimes I'm out there for like 7 days, and so you have to find
Mm,
food that will actually last you 7 days because rice is only good depending on the weather, like maybe up to 3 days, and so I'm not gonna eat rotten rice out there and kill myself out there. So you need the proper equipment to be able to last you out there.
all right. All right, we're down to our last question. What's one tradition you grew up with, and you're planning to pass on to the younger generation?
Oh man, that's a wide open question. Uh, Man, I don't really know if we have a specific tradition other than the fact that we have deer camp because we've had deer camp for 37 years, and that's something that I would like to keep going with. Like I don't want to see it end. Like how cool would it be to be like, oh yeah, this is the 100th year of deer camp, like 2 generations down the road, right? And so that's something that I would love to keep alive because that's really the one thing I look forward to the most every single fall. Like I'll have all these new hunts that I have planned out of state and whatnot, but it's always just deer camp back at home with the family. So like, that's what I want to pass down to, my nephews and nieces and maybe one day my own kids. So that's the one thing I wouldn't want to let die off.
Mm. Good question for you. Since for every harvest you take, every kill you take for your weapons, the moment, my dad's like put it down on me pretty hard that where you harvest something, good bling cha of your animal, take the blood, honor to your weapon. Do you used to do that to all your rifles?
No, I have never heard of that
Oh,
actually.
never heard of that. Oh.
No, I didn't know that was a thing.
I remember I
No.
did a video and I put it online of my bow kill, and like a bunch of people were like, "What the hell are you still doing that? That's so old school stuff." But yeah, my
Oh, that's
dad like
funny.
he's always been like, "Yeah, if you ever get a kill if you're any rifle or any big games or anything like that, take the blood, you know, and blame the rifle, honor that weapon. You
Hmm.
just give a little prayer or something, or even for your bow, put the blood on your limbs and say a little prayer to it or something like that." My dad's
Dude, that's
always like,
hilarious. I
yeah,
I have
he's always
never
been
heard
like,
of that. What I have heard is if you buy a new gun and you miss the first shot, might as well sell that gun because that gun
yeah.
sucks.
I heard that.
Yeah.
And Steph
I've proven it to not be true, but some people believe it.
and Stefan and you wonder why you keep experiencing supernatural shit. You do shit like that, man.
Uh,
You
Doesn't faze me.
uh,
you got blood on your guns, man. The spirit's coming back.
It's funny. Like I remember I did that video and I put it online, and somebody's like, "You ain't gonna shoot shit with that bow no more." And then this year I've shot two does with it. I'm like, hey, like
Go tag them.
uh, that's funny.
It's with the help with a skinwalker girlfriend, man. Well, Simone, that's all the question that we have. Before we end this, Stefan, Christian, do you guys have any more questions for Simone?
No, no. Honestly, what I would say is, dude, I think you're doing a really good thing. Ku and I were talking about this that you have very good presence. You have a very good speaking ability. So you're very professional when you talk. And so, honestly, we are always trying to encourage, especially a lot of our younger guys, to get into this space. This is not really a space where, especially the moment, we're not really represented well. So, we are super proud of the work that both you and Steven do, and definitely you guys keep it up.
No, I appreciate that, man. That means a lot to have back support like that, man. It means a lot for sure.
great, man. You're doing fantastic. Keep doing what you're doing. Keep being who you
Hmm.
are. And
Yep.
I
Yeah.
will see you in Minnesota soon, right?
I'll keep you posted if I venture out that way.
Yeah, if you
Yeah,
plan
if
to come
you
out, just let me know. I'll get a bunch of fangirls out here.
Sounds good to me.
Well, that's all the time that we have. Simone, for the people that wants to follow you, where can they find you?
Yeah, so you can find me primarily on two platforms, on YouTube and Instagram. So on YouTube, it's just Samong Outdoors. So that's Samong Outdoors. That's my main platform. I'm mainly a YouTube content creator. And then you can also follow me on Instagram. I'm not super active on it, but sometimes I'll post photos on it. And that's SY_outside.
All right, I will put all those link in the description. Well, if you guys don't have any more question, we will end this. So, Simone, thank you for taking your time and talking with us tonight.
Yeah, thanks for having me, man. I enjoyed that conversation.
All right, I'm gonna stop recording right now.